Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wargaming.net League 2017 fall season. I'm James Rockstar Grief, joined alongside by Randall Rookhill Holcomb. Today is match day 8, the first day of our second round robin. So we get a repeat of 3 weeks ago today. Should be a fun time.
Should be, but we'll see what exactly has changed between now and then. See if maybe Teal Team 6 can do better than a 5-0, and if top tier can do better than that 2 that they put up against Aquatic M60s 5 last time.
Yep. Well, let us know if you think these teams will do better, worse, or just different than last time on social media, guys. On Twitter at WGLNA and also on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA. Also, make sure you guys check out the Facebook Live pre-show every single match day, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Get all your questions related to the WGLNA, our Fantasy League, or just World of Tanks answered on there.
Yep, and of course, that's fantasytanks.com, where you guys can compete every single match day, and of course, overall, for the entire season, to see who is the best at Fantasy Tanks, who knows this league the best. You're going to win Type 59s, gold codes, whatever. And of course, just a reminder, guys, on all the Twitter stuff, at WGLNA, use that hashtag WGLNA. If we find those tweets, we like them, we might just feature them here on the broadcast. So go ahead, just shout out. I love reading those. You guys can be hilarious.
Yep. All right. Now that we got all that out of the way,
yes,
let's go ahead and take a look at the standings as they stand right now.
All right, so we've got Elevate in the lead, 21 points against, and they're leading way over Dare, 15 in second place. Right behind them, Eclipse, with one tiebreaker win, the difference between third and second place right there. Top tier, Teal Team 6 with 9 points, F7 with 7, Aquatic M60s with 6, and 07 in the final day of this last round robin was able to put those 3 points on the board, giving them a little bit more of a chance going into the second round robin.
Yep, and speaking of the second round robin, it's going to start off today with the same matchups we had on match day 1. Elevate versus Teal Team 6 and Top Tier versus Aquatic M60s. Offline, Eclipse versus F7, followed by Dare Rising versus, cannot remember that last one, Dare versus
07.
07. Yeah. That would make sense.
It's okay.
So
happens from time to time.
Yep.
We like to mix it up so much it kind of gets a little fuzzy.
Yeah. Now, first match, Elevate versus Teal Team 6.
All right. So on Elevate, off the battlefield it's comps, on the battlefield it's wall hacks. And Vetro has been a standout player. I know you want to talk about him.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the leading average point scorer across the league right now, above 60 fantasy points. Before the last match day, he was sitting at almost 70. So even on games that are complete blowouts, he manages to just find the damage regardless of the maps. And when we get to it, I think the map pool is really going to favor him having a good match day today.
We'll get to that later. But first, let's look at Teal Team 6, their opponents today, who are a little bit different as far as their structure, we can both agree on.
Yeah, a very loose team. They have a lot of players that have a lot of calling experience. Not really any one person overall is in charge, but a lot of experience nonetheless. And then they added Spooky Scary Skeleton recently.
Great player.
Great player from Valence. He's shown that he can be very consistent. So, we'll have to see how far they've come. They've surprised a lot of us this first round robin. They put up some results that we didn't see coming. However, they have, and now they're going to try to play Elevate again. Last time they played, it was a 5-0. Technically, it was a 4-0, and the last one was a forfeit loss.
Yeah.
But regardless, so we'll have to see if they can get, even if they get 1 round, 2 rounds, or 3 rounds, even if it's not a win, if they get some rounds off Elevate, that is an improvement. That would be a small victory for them.
And I think that's generally going to be what you and I, James, and everyone out there who's a fan of Teal Team 6 is looking for today. Yes, it's amazing if they win, but expectations really shouldn't be there. If you're realistic right now, you're looking at Elevate and you're saying, okay, they should run away with the win. If you're Teal Team 6, your measure of success is how many points can you get on the board. Or if you can happen to get to a tiebreaker somehow, that's amazing. That would blow my mind.
I mean, maybe Teal Team 6 want to take the record for 07 for biggest upset in the last 2 years, because 07 taking Eclipse on the last match day, that was something none of us saw coming, and the biggest upset I've seen in over a year here. So if Teal Team 6 could take a match off of Elevate, the upset would just be phenomenal.
It would be absolutely astounding. But I think that's enough on just that topic for now. Let's take a look at the maps. At the maps, yeah.
Let's see where that's going to play out. First bands coming in. It is going to be Mines and Ghost Town banned out. No surprise to see an Elevate ban Mines. They haven't really played it much this season. Ghost Town for Teal Team 6. Burrow and Runeberg up first. Burrow is actually a map that Elevate really haven't played much this season. Only 2 rounds so far.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot known about them. They might not be super well versed in the map. However, in the past, when we have seen them play on it, they've done just fine. And if their performance across the board is any indication, they're going to be good. And who picked that? That was Elevate, actually, and then Teal Team 6 choosing sides. So Elevate saying that they want the map. Ruinberg, though.
Yeah, Ruinberg coming through there for Teal Team 6. That's actually... The stats on the map have kind of skewed over the last couple match days. Instead of being a very one-sided defensive map, it's now about 65% in favor of the attackers.
Yeah, and we can attribute some of that to, I think, failed defenses, really.
Yeah.
Some just objectively not super well-executed defenses.
And some really well-executed offenses, to be fair. There's been some great plays. We'll get to more of that in a minute. And then Himmelsdorf being banned for Teal Team 6. No surprise there, since that is Elevate's pretty much staple map at this point.
Yeah, you don't want to take on Elevate on Himmelsdorf. It's not going to do you any good. But then pick Sand River and Prohorovka. These are maps which could do a little bit better. Elevate may struggle on the map just because of how new it is and how really kind of crazy the whole map is. It's very flexible.
And it's a map that will allow Teal Team 6 to do some crazy stuff. If they can get that far, they'll get at least one round on it since it's map 3.
Yeah.
They could, throw just a complete screwball out there and just see what happens.
They very well could. And then on Prohorovka, which can be a 1-in-1 map, even a team like Elevate is probably going to struggle to perform consistently as an attacker on Proc.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. It very much has to do with your opening strats.
Yep. Now that we have the maps out of the way, let's talk predictions. Does this kind of do you not change anything? Is this where you were sitting beforehand? You feel about the same?
I threw a 5-0 prediction out, but without Himmelsdorf in the mix, and because there's Ruinberg, because there's Proc, because of Murrow, I think I could comfortably alter that to 5-1, 5-2, just because Teal Team 6 could slip in here and get one or two of those good ones.
So the biggest thing influencing my prediction there is Elevate's last match day.
What about it?
It was sloppy to Dare. They dropped some rounds there, but they shouldn't have. They weren't happy. When a team has a match day like that, it doesn't matter who they play on the next match day. It doesn't matter if it's World of Tanks, if it's Real Sports, what it is. The next match day, a team like this, with this caliber, they will come back
with a vengeance.
With vengeance, ready to play and make sure to show everyone, like, guys, that was just a fluke. Don't count on that happening. So I expect to see that out of Elevate today.
I would not put much of a fight against that argument. That does sound fairly reasonable, yes.
Yeah. All right. So now that that's out of the way.
Yes, sir.
Face off.
Face off. Do we have both? Yes, we do. We have both captains ready to go. Comps and Greg. Greg looks like he's been into something. We're going to start off with Greg today. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty bad. I'm still recovering from the last time Elevate beat the crap out of me. It's been a rough time. I'm still working on it a little bit.
Yeah, still healing. Got some band-aids on your face, kind of a deal.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah. What? Did you have to go to the hospital or anything, or was it just?
Yeah. It was a rough time.
All right.
We're good, though. It's okay.
You guys are back. You're better. You've practiced. You're ready to take on Elevate?
Oh, yeah. 100% less spectators now. So that's a plus.
But you didn't sell Nova. All right, Greg, my question is, like we were just talking about, last time you played them, it did not go in your favor at all. What's going to be different this time? You think it's going to be different? You think it's going to be the same?
I think that we're definitely going to get beat up again. I do think, however, that we've improved a lot. The first time we played them was quite literally our first time ever playing in the Gold League. When now we have a round robin under our belt, we've picked up some decent wins so far against a couple experienced teams. So we'll see how tonight goes. I'm hoping for a couple rounds.
And then final question for you, Greg. What are you going to do with the trash?
I don't know. I think I'm just going to sleep on it tonight. Whatever.
All right.
All right, Comps. Now over to you. When we talked to you after your last match day, that smile you had before the game was no longer there. You guys didn't sound too happy about how that went. I'm assuming you guys had practice yesterday. If so, what went on? You guys feel more ready for the day? Where are you guys at?
Yeah, yesterday we had an afternoon practice, and it went well. I mean, I think we ironed out all the mistakes we had, so I mean, we should be on point for tonight's match.
So, if I may ask, what do you think a lot of those mistakes came down to? Was it calling errors? Was it player errors? Where did that come from? What was the root of that issue?
Oh, it was definitely player errors. People just did not play well, out of position. Bad bad shots, that type of stuff. So, I mean, I guess people have some off days, but overall, I think it's been worked on, and we should be good for tonight.
All right, fair enough. Well, that about does it for us, guys. Comp, do you have any final thoughts for Greg or Teal Team 6?
Good luck and have fun.
All right, Greg, any final thoughts for Comps and Elevate?
You're going down, punk!
All right,
Okay.
Good luck, guys. Oh, Greg.
Yeah.
Greg, the meme lord.
I thought he was going to have something clever to say about the trash because he said Teal Team's TT6 trash right
Yep.
behind him on that.
Yeah. Straight from Greg, guys.
Straight
Straight
from
from their
Greg.
team captain. Says about the vote of confidence he has in them today.
All right. So with that in mind, I guess they're going to pull out some crazy strats. They might do some fun meme strats here or there.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. This is the sort of match where you break that stuff out. You've come up with some crazy strats, something just off the wall, where you just want to, you haven't had a chance to bring them.
Yeah.
You haven't wanted to use them in a match where you kind of favor yourself or you think you're a contender. But in
Where
these
those
matches-
strats are honestly a joke.
Yeah, but right now you're like, hey, so we're playing Elevate. Nothing we did last time worked. We got 5-0'd. What do we got in our back pocket? What haven't we done?
So you're going to take the SEA approach. Yep. Our friends in over there in Australia and Southeast Asia have always understood the importance of meme strats. Because as we've seen in previous even Worlds finals for World of Tanks, non-standard or some crazy strats have thrown off the best teams in the WGL before.
Yeah, and I will say, if there's a map pool to bring some really crazy out there stuff, we're playing a couple of them. Muravanka up first, that's one of those maps where
you can do some crazy strats.
You can do some crazy stuff. Mouses hiding passively in bushes. All sorts of crazy stuff they could bring out there. Then you got Ruinberg. That one's a little bit less crazy, but maybe the North Cap Bully. There's a lot of stuff they can do. Now let's talk about Muro though.
Yes.
So the forest obviously can hide a lot of tanks. You can move stuff around.
If we see Elevate on the attack going that way, it's going to be a longer battle. It tends to be a lot slower, unless we see a flex back to the north side where things tend to move a little bit quicker as a contrast to the rest of the map. That'll be the major focus for anyone who's trying to end Battle 1 quickly, which Elevate might just do. We'll see what they're going to do as they are readying up tanks right now. We've got an IS-7 from Ox Mathis, 3 5As. And 3 Bat Chats, not super crazy lineup there on the attack. And on defense, a single mouse, 2 5As, 3 Bat Chats, and a T100 LT. Now, that tells me we're going to see a lot of passive play in that T100 with a strong defense going on the that 1-2 line.
I agree, but once again, we're talking about doing stuff off color, not predictable stuff out there. T100, it's a fast, zippy little tank. It's a great active tank to scout around in. So
active, passive, whatever it needs to do, it's low to the ground, it's just
hard
small.
To hit.
Yeah.
And then also, the mouse there, those are tanks, they could be used unconventionally. Now, there's stuff that we're used to on this map that certainly could be the case, or they could just do something that we're not going to expect out of them, and we'll have to see what they bring to the table right now as we get into battle number 1.
All right, so Supernova, we're going to follow him quickly, and he'll be going right up the middle towards Chapel, where, oh, look at this, he might actually meet Canadian Impact, but some smooth driving is going to allow him to get spotted slightly later than normal. As he tries to escape, we've got tanks lining up, Vetro on the hill. Canadian has been spotted in his position, not loaded in the bat chat.
Aggressive scout run from that T100. Unfortunate, though, only finding Canadian Impact and has to back off before he takes some damage.
Yep, Dodoma looks like he tries to sneak a shot towards Supernova as he escapes back towards the south, but unfortunately not able to land that shell. Supernova is going to now decide on his next passive spotting position as Elevate starts this one off with a nice slow play towards the east side. Supernova's found a spot. All right.
And remember how we were talking about, maybe some strats that were kind of out there. They have 2 passive tanks in this field. They have one that's actually not even in a bush. It's in a knocked over tree. So we'll have to see if this can throw Elevate off. Now, they moved the T100 into a passive bush as well. However, the problem is there's 2 of them. And this is something that Eclipse pioneered a while ago. 2 different passive tanks, including one you normally wouldn't expect to be in that passive position. And what that does, that changes the spotting lanes. It makes it so there's multiple angles that you're getting spotted from. And it's already hard enough to find 1 passive tank in this field. If you look at how many bushes are sitting around just past Zombie Food here, there's so many different places, and that whole trying to spot, you know, or trying to narrow down where one of them can be is already hard enough. Trying to do that for 2 tanks in the 10-minute timer that we have, it's not impossible, but it's highly difficult.
Yes. Generally, the response to this is to just go for that 1 cap in the west, right? Because you nullify this, you don't waste your time or your effort or hit points even to just try and get some hits.
It can be a lot more controlled.
Yes. Although, what Elevate's going to do instead, it looks like, is send Mathis. He had a little escort with him to move up into this position. And as you can see here, he's just going to start looking for targets. And Greg from the hill, that 5A is the tank that's going to be looking in his direction currently. Looks like no one else is really going to have a strong angle on him or is even trying much. Zombie may be able to sneak a shell past Viral and shoot Mathis in the front, but other than that, he's relatively safe. Meanwhile, we should follow what Elevate's doing with the 5As. They're moving him up, actually, on the west side. Anime Lord Brett, under cover of Vetro and External, is getting forward towards the 1 cap. He'll be able to engage a little bit with Bananas to the wall host from this position and put some pressure on the rest of Teal Team 6's defensive positions.
Yeah, no, Ox is spotted down here. They know this IS-7's down here. However, he's an IS-7. He's a great hold-down tank, and it's going to be really hard to get quality shots if he doesn't push any farther up onto the high ground. Sitting in this little low defilade he's in right now provides him some nice hold-down cover.
Yep. And with the crossfire of Brett and Mathis, Elevate's probably hoping to pinch out Supernova and Viral. However, we can see a little spotting from Brett, and the Love Hitman is moving forward. That mouse. This mouse is going to be moving forward to try and pressure Vetro and cut off Brett and Mathis. It's a bit dangerous, though, because if Elevate collapses correctly at the right time, when Teal Team 6 is still in motion, they may be able to get some free picks or something of the like. And this distraction actually shows that Teal Team 6 is putting their focus towards the middle, not towards defending their lights in the south. I think Elevate may be able to take advantage of that, or what they'll do is they'll just jump onto Love Hitman.
Yep, and Ox is just going to start driving across this field. He may find Viral and Supernova. Now, he only actually spots Supernova. Now Viral opens up onto Ox in the south. So they do have the 2-on-1 here. Now, this is going to be important where this focus fire can come in for Elevate. And they're getting some shots off, but Ox is largely alone right now. And they actually have Viral down to basically a 1-shot. And Wallhacks with the great pick there. And now it's just Supernova. And Ox, once again, staying alive against all odds. And Teal Team 6 just getting eviscerated in that middle courtyard right now.
And, yep, up north, we've got Greg getting pressured. External has closed the distance with Canadian on a strong angle. Gets the kill. External now with some cover. Takes on Emus. Canadian now out of ammo. External's going to go down pretty soon, but we'll see what Elevate can do with this situation, as External is working with a slightly increased reload time, or reduced reload time.
Zombie Food doing what he can do, as Emus does take down External, but Zombie Food's now on reload as Vetro puts 1 shot into him, and he's trying to get out of there. Banana the Wall Host also reloading, but he'll come off his reload in about 10 seconds.
Vetro lands the shell you were just talking about. Zombie, though, alive, is able to get away for a little bit longer.
And Ox somehow still alive in that I-7 down. Supernova running circles around him, has him permatracked. Nothing Ox can do. He needs his teammate to come in, and actually Supernova misses the retrack, and Ox picks up the kill. Unfortunate there. Good effort from Supernova, but missing that track shot ultimately ended up dooming him. And that is going to be it. That is going to be a 1-0 victory in favor of Elevate.
Nicely played. I wouldn't say super standard victory, but also just they handled the situation well.
No.
You saw Teal Team 6 attempt to respond to the a nice little move, getting a heavy tank up an exposed corridor so they can just move in, so that Elevate can move a tank close to Teal Team 6's defensive positions. Once you had, who was that? That was one of the 5As. It would have been Brett.
Right.
Yeah, Brett moving up, IS-7 in the far, you guys are looking at here, southeast with the IS-7.
Yeah, and then also Wallhacks got some shots in there as well.
Yeah, and now, just all those shots coming from different directions.
The one thing, the one major flaw with that strat, with how it was set up for Teal Team 6, where this started to go wrong, was Ox single-handedly kept 2 tanks out of the fight. Now, unknowingly, it's not that he knew they were there, but because of that positioning, if either Supernova or Viral tried to leave their passive bushes, he would have spotted them and they would have gone down. So they had to hold their shots, and then they tried to take the 2-on-1. The problem was Elevate were ready for it, and their focus fire was superb. Viral only got 2 shots off into Ox, so overall it was just great coordination and a good read from Elevate, kind of understanding what was likely happening.
Yeah, and because Teal Team 6 pressed on every single angle, like they attacked north and over in the south in that 2v1. They took one bad engagement with the majority of their forces and what looked like a good engagement with the tiny minority, those 2 tanks.
Yep.
And that doesn't stack up very well. Generally, if you win that tiny overmatch, you lose the other side.
Right. So looking at it, Vetro and Emus both doing top damage for their teams, 3,100 apiece, 1 kill for each. So both doing what they can. Now, tank lineup is coming in for our second battle as they start to ready up their tanks. 10 seconds left on the countdown timer.
Looks like Vetro's going to bring a 215B. Not a bad choice at all. I've been waiting to see a few more of those because it's just simply the damage output and the way that this tank can perform in defense. Compare that with a Kronwagen.
Yeah.
You give up a little DPM with the Kronwagen, but where you end up defending harder. And then the 4 Batchats and a T100 against the IS-75A 103B, 2 Batchats, a T5051, and T100 again from Supernova.
TVP is an interesting pick on this map just because it's large. It's not a great ridge working tank, and I fail to see, just off the top of my head, how it can be applied to use that sudden burst effectively. Blind fire maybe. Trying to clear the bushes would be the only thing I can think of. Just being able to fire off rapid shots.
I actually was going to agree with that one. Absolutely, that's one use for it. I might even say you could bring the right high fire rate medium tank though and do the exact same thing, or with slightly more effectively.
Right.
But what it does bring is when you finally get into a fight, it has enough burst that you can just really take down one of those 5As or IS-7s to a reasonable hit point level where you can just finish them all.
Also early game, trying to counter out active scout tanks, being able to pump out that 1,200 damage if they say find a T100 or Batchat making a scout run. It certainly could be effective there. The problem is it's kind of a, I feel like it's kind of a one-trick pony almost. Few certain things. Now, we've talked about that. There are 2 types of tanks you want. We'll get to that in 1 second because it looks like there's actually some tanks moving over on the other side of the map, getting real aggressive towards that cap. That's going to be the Love Hitman and Viral moving on to that cap right now.
Yep. 2 tanks, heavies, moving up into position. They have some measure of control, and there's no one really here to do much. Ox Mathis and the Kronwagen does not have a strong angle on the position of the Love Hitman or Greg, and that's going to be good for Teal Team 6 on this attack. On the other side, Vetro, at a slightly wider angle, is kind of watching the positions, waiting to see if he can get closer. And it looks like that pressure on cap is going to cause Elevate to send out their wing of Batchats. It's going to be Dodoma chasing up Canadian Impact with external on Brett. Now, if these guys can catch a tank out of position or just catch anyone by surprise, they should be okay. The risk here is, well, how's this gonna play out, James?
Yeah, well, this is pretty much what I call a hammer and anvil strat. However, we'll get to it in a second. Let's get back to the action because they're actually pushing in right now.
Yeah, we've got Canadian versus Supernova right now. A little action on the east side with the Batchats. And at the same time, tanks in the middle of the field from Teal Team 6 are going to try and hold that up. Meanwhile, at the cap, we've got Vetro engaging against Viral, Emus, Hitman, and Greg. But there's a huge overmatch here in favor of Teal Team 6. And so if Teal Team decides to push forward, they may be able to kill Vetro and the Kronwagen, but this is getting risky. Love Hitman down to very low hit points. Vetro puts 1, and the finishing shot from Ox. Now Greg, Viral, and Emus get to move up, so this probably won't last much longer. It's going to be very important for Elevate to send their Batchats from the east, get them onto this side of the map, clean this up, get the kills that they need. Otherwise, Vetro is about to go down.
You should go down to Greg here, who should have the final shot. Actually, nope, Viral picks it up.
Nicely played.
Now, that is pretty much exactly what Elevate wanted, though. That was Teal Team 6 trying to push into that anvil, and while they did get the pick onto Vetro, they're down a lot of HP, and that was 2 tanks out of the fight for a good while, while the rest of the Batchats have moved up into the north. They have the isolation onto Zombie Food. Supernova has to stay up on that red line, or he's going to go down, as Canadian Impact's just going to push in the T100 and pick up the kill. Emu's sitting here trying to get some shots off, while External finds some shots onto that, looks like just firing at the front plate, managing to get some penetrations, and Impact's going to come around on the heavies here to pick up the kill. Greg should be the next one going down as well.
Greg gets aggressive onto, there we go, nice support from External, and remaining is just Supernova, that T100. Relatively healthy, didn't get to do much in this fight. He's done about 900 damage this whole battle, and, well, Teal Team 6 wasn't able to support, and Elevate wins battle number 2 in good fashion. So, already 2 up.
Now, what I was going to talk about before that whole brawl started was the hammer and anvil strat. So using just a few tanks to slow down one side and using your faster tanks to clear the other. And that's exactly what Elevate did.
It's a risk, though.
It's a risk. However, the trick is really making them pay for it. Being just such a big, heavy weight that even if they push into it and they can kill it, it's either going to, one, take a lot of time, or two, you're going to bleed a lot of tanks doing it. And if you notice, positions from Elevate, they had Ox and the Kronwagen sitting over in a hold-down spot with a long lane of approach to him, so no one's going to get to him quickly.
Exactly.
And then Vetro on the high ground in a 215B, a high HP tank, 2,500.
If you have to push into that tank, into Vetro, what you're doing is you're exposing weaker armored sides to that Kronwagen, so it's that much easier for him to get the shells he needs.
So in this case, the Anvil was the crossfire between those two tanks plus their HP and positions. And if you notice, it took those two tanks out of the fight, and while they did manage to kill Vetro eventually, they bled a lot of HP, and that sort of 2-on-2 is completely fine for Elevate, because they have to have tanks on cap, and that allows the Bat Chats clearing the forest to, one, know that they're at worst pushing into an equal fight. Because they know that there's two tanks there, Elevate know that there's two tanks in front of them, there's two less tanks on the rest of the map. Now looking at the damages here, Ox, 2,800 damage,
and
80
Brett,
fantasy points.
Yeah, Brett and External right behind him with 2,000 and 2K. Bananas the wall host and Zombie Food in that TVP, putting up decent damage for a losing team. Wall Hacks and Dodoma didn't get as much opportunity. Dodoma actually ended up having to use a lot of his time and effort just kind of skirmishing, and so not dealing all that much damage. He just kind of kept things at bay, necessary to let his teammates do the work that they needed. Those Bat Chats we were waiting to come in.
Overall it was very solidly executed from Elevate. And what that sort of hammer and anvil strat does, it allows them to take map control. It boxes Teal Team 6 into one solid spot. So now that that's out of the way, though, well, let's move on to Ruinberg, which is now in front of us. Elevate, not perfect on this map. They've had some bumps over the last couple of match days, and actually this is actually one of the maps the Teal Team 6 really haven't played that much. They only have 4 games on it in total.
And lineups.
So, looking at the lineups, Randall, if you look at the side of Elevate.
Yeah, that's a Mouse, 3 5As, a Foch B, Batchat, and T100.
Kind of an odd mix of tanks. We'll get to that in a second. Meanwhile, Teal Team 6 favoring IS-7s, 4 IS-7s, a 263, a Batchat, and another 263.
Yeah, they got 2 of them. And they're going to be rolling together. Zombie Food, Emus. Looks like they'll be rolling north, supporting Supernova and a Batchat. So Supernova's going to go north as a Scout Bat. And the IS-7s are going to go mid-road. Bananas, Love Hitman, Viral, all of them. So what this says is north cap, put pressure on the 1 cap. IS-7s are going to move forward as a kind of just a hit squad, and they're going to screen. They're just going to start a fight wherever they can, ideally within range of the positions of the 1 cap where the 263s can cover. That Batchat, I'm hoping he goes deep into the 0 line where he can try to cover or spot whatever needs to be spotted so that this fast cap can succeed. Otherwise, this is going to fall flat on its face.
I actually really like this from Teal Team 6. The I-7's taking that spot in the low ground. They're going to be really hard to hit there. Now, they are bleeding some HP, but they're finding this kill into Ox, and with the 263s coming in at the same time, they have the side shots, and Supernova closing at point blank. That's a picks onto Ox Mathis, and now they have this north cap. They have a solid crossfire. They have the A6 village all to themselves, and these IS-7s are going to be hard to chew through.
Now they are. Now, there's the Batchat Supernova spotting Vetro. He's going to actually be using the mouse as cover, so Vetro can't really get much fire on him, and he's able to kind of watch this entire advance from Elevate as they move into the IS-7s of Teal Team 6.
And the T100, keep an eye on that. He has gotten in behind Canadian Impact as the heavy tanks are taking this overmatch, and Wallhacks is just pushing around, getting behind. He's breaking the turrets. He has a full clip. These IS-7s will die. The biggest thing to keep an eye on right now is Canadian Impact in the north. He has to get those resets.
He gets one right into the back of Emus before he's forced to back off. Zombie Food now moving out into the open to support the IS-7 fight. Sees where he can find some shells. He's got all of the cap points. Bounces 1 shell that would have stopped cap, and now Supernova moves back to stop Canadian Impact. Zombie Food, though, gets reset, and that's going to take the pressure off of Elevate for just a moment, allow them to work on that cap.
Yep,
nicely done.
Elevate should clean this up. It's a 5v3, tanks in behind, tanks in front. They haven't boxed into this top cap. Now, these 263s, though, you cannot underestimate them. Look at how many one-shot tanks Elevate has. It's 3 and possibly Dodoma on a super high roll out of that 263.
Honestly, it's doable at this point from... Oh, no. Supernova. Por qué?
And his teammate's going to save him, put him back on his side.
Okay, he's got this, but that was silly.
That was almost really bad. And now Vetro's going to come around the corner here in the Foch B, try to find some shots onto Zombie Food. He has all the 5As joining him. And they do find Wallhacks and Canadian Impact. They're trying to take that fight over there because they know that's the only even fight they're going to get. And Dodoma's going to push around in this 5A with the only one with high HP. And he's going to take that shot, and now this should be a dead Zombie Food. So the rest of them push around. Brett finds the kill onto Supernova. A bounce shot off that 263. 263 hard tank to kill. External finally gets the finishing shot. And Wallhacks is reloading, and Emus knows it, so he's just going to turn towards the other tanks. Try to pick up one more kill.
Gets one.
Gets it.
He actually, legitimately, if he plays this right, it's a one-shot each kill. That's a bounce, and that's a connection from Brett. Okay, there we go. For a moment there. For a moment. It's a decent tank destroyer. It's got good armor. It shoots quickly. He could have done it.
I'm gonna say this: Teal Team 6. I'm impressed.
Yeah,
I like that. I really do like that strat. I like the setup. I like what they tried to go for. The problem is they're playing Elevate. They knew how to respond.
Yeah. Maybe the tank composition is something to think about. IS-7s are decently quick. They aren't the highest DPM tank you could have chosen, and I think maybe mixing the group up a little bit or positioning them differently might have had a better effect. What you probably wanted to do was to have the tank destroyers, the objects, you wanted them in supporting positions. What we didn't quite achieve here with Teal Team 6 is Teal Team 6 wasn't able to achieve full fire support from the tank destroyers. Both Object 263s were on cap and hiding for a bit. And that was well and good. The problem was they were both looking to the east, expecting to start coming out and bringing that support fire, and that allowed for Canadian Impact and the T100 to get resets.
That was the strat would have been fine if it wasn't for Canadian Impact. Now looking at the damage here real quick, Wallhack's top damage for Elevate, 90 fantasy points. Dodoma, 2,600, 2 kills. Brett, 2,600, 3 kills, 2 fantasy points. And then Vetro and the Foch B, 2,400, 1 clip worth. Emus doing what he can for Teal Team 6, and then it drops off after that. Now, what I'll say is that strat went really well, except for Canadian Impact getting them behind.
That was avoidable.
Now, one slight change you could think about, maybe pulling one of the I-7s back, switching it to a support tank, a 50B, or another batch hat, and leaving them deeper in the town, because that'll do 2 things. It covers the I-7s and puts an eye on the back door in case the tank comes around. Kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility. The problem is then the I-7's in the middle. If Elevate plays their angles right, they're a little bit more vulnerable, etc. We'll talk about that more later, I'm sure.
Sure. So we have 2 I-7s, 3 mouse, and 2 bat chats on the side of Elevate. Teal Team 6 bringing 4 of the 5As, a Foch B, and 2 bat chats. So only slight mobility from both teams in this battle.
Yep. Now we are going to see that Foch B come out for Teal Team 6 this time.
Heads
favoring
north.
the defender. Yep. And they're actually going to send it up to that A6 village.
Not bad. Not bad. Let's take a moment actually and look at the giant mini-map here. You're going to notice Mouse Squad moving forward, IS-7 Squad moving forward, Bat Chat's coming in for a loop. Yeah, this is... Elevate's about to get spotted. Although, notice the IS-7's hitting a pit. Ah, never mind. Jig's up. IS-7 spotted north, Mouse spotted, Bat Chat. This bat in the south is the only thing that remains an unknown quantity. And you're seeing this shift right now come from Teal Team 6.
They are trying to back away. Now, why Viral's trying to leave right now?
He doesn't want to get pinned. He doesn't want to get caught in a bat chat. Remember this. If you're a bat chat and you're caught out here in the open, this isn't ideal. You would prefer to have a heavy tank. Of course, it's difficult to get a heavy tank at the position Viral's expected to be in.
If you have enough support fire, if you tuck into that A3 corner, there really isn't anything the other team can do about it.
But a heavy tank's better than a medium.
Now, I will say, I do like what Viral is going for. He switched to a random bush at A4. It's going to be something that's not going to be expected. He'll have the eyes on cap. Now, he will be extremely vulnerable if he gets spotted, if a tank gets close enough. But it should be just enough of an alteration to throw Elevate off their game.
Maybe just. Now, Elevate's current positionings. This is going back to a very, very old way of playing the map. The old east-west style, where one team would normally take the city, one team would normally take the village side, and it would stalemate for 15 minutes. Now, just because Elevate lost the element of surprise, what they're going to do is they're going to kind of settle into these defensive positions. But the problem here, James, is this is a position that Elevate's put themselves into, which is might slow them down too much, a little bit too much, to the point where they give up too much time, and then Teal Team 6 gets to, well, just win on time.
All right, well, they try to respawn right now, and Elevate are trying to open up this defense of Teal Team 6. Well, let's go ahead and listen into the comms of Elevate and see exactly what they're planning.
Ran away immediately.
So our veterans lit?
No, I'm not lit.
Okay, that's good for us then. We'll go.
I am not lit. This mouse isn't lit yet.
They're just fucking hiding everywhere.
I'm pretty sure the only guy spotting is probably this. There's always some further back.
Could be a fox.
Do you want us to go? Do you want the two mice to go to the corner?
The IS-7 should
Go
cross
up
this
and
way,
cross. Yeah.
I just got spotted
and
now.
the bats just jump on the bat.
Yeah. Go 7. Go. 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 Go.
I got lit. I got lit. He's in a bush.
You
here.
stop
You
though.
should
Go, just go.
Go. Go. Go.
No,
Go.
I'm lit right now.
Nice, he's half health.
Shoot him.
Still not lit. I got lit there.
He's in a bush over
They
there.
have something up here.
Got lit
Can't
here.
shoot him now.
He's in the bush in the corner. Yeah.
Fuck B up there.
Probably push up box. I don't know.
Yeah, we should push up. Oh, bat. I'm armor.
Fuck B shot 4, I think.
Ooh, unlucky.
Bat's behind. Bat's pushing behind.
Can we
The fuck
kill
B
this
shot like
Ouija?
4.
Can we kill this
Shot
Ouija?
4, I
I'm
think.
trying to pinch him out
I
of you
have a
guys.
shot in the Foch.
Yeah, nice.
I'm going towards the wall volley.
This
Hit
guy's
the
in
Wheezy,
open,
hit the
yeah,
Wheezy.
he's
That's in the window behind.
It's fine, just
They
shoot.
have another Wheezy there.
Where did my shot just go? Wheezy, that bat in the window's -2.
Let me hide all the way behind you, so if anything does
Yeah.
flank.
Impact's getting pushed. You guys should have shots on him. On cap.
Shoot bananas.
I got
Holding
26.
3.
He's safe. There's no shot on him.
Can we cross back
Yeah,
over
keep
and kill
moving.
this
I
bat?
can kill him in 10
You
seconds.
guys could just keep moving.
Petro, can you come with me to
They
kill
still
this
need
bat?
a
Yeah,
reset.
I'm coming.
Thank you. I don't know where he is.
I'm gonna check to the right. Here he is. He's just in the cubby. I
gonna
can
get a
force
reset.
him out.
He's
I'm gonna force him out.
He's gonna come over to me.
Yeah, if he drives, he's driving out. I can
Farmed
help
right
you.
now.
But they have to do something about cap right now.
Lighting the 0 line.
He shot.
He just shot.
This guy just shot.
He shot 3, Petro. I
Can I get help with this Wheezy here?
Yeah,
Just
I
stay safe
can
while I need to help
sorry.
them with them.
Oh, fuck.
What is-
Fucking Christ.
Yeah, we should.
Have cap.
Fine.
We have cap.
Yeah, nice.
All right. That was Elevate capping this one out successfully on the north cap. Well, that happened.
Yeah, that happened. Well, like I was talking about before we went to the listen in, viral in that bush. The problem is well, it's different, and you're pending on them not looking for it and stopping and not trying to push into A6. The second they get close enough to proximity light him, he has no cover. He's not getting out of there. There was 5 guns looking at him, and you saw him fire 1 shot before he ended up dying.
Pretty much.
So risky. It's one of those Hail Mary plays where if it works great and they play right into it, you're a hero. If not, it's bust, and
Exactly.
that's what happens.
And Teal Team 6 really kind of let this whole thing happen too. Is they had plenty of vision, they knew what was going on. They even had Elevate slowing down a lot, which is where I was starting to doubt, because once you're pinned into the city, it can be quite difficult to push out. You have to cross quite a great distance in order to begin your engagement. And in this case, Teal Team 6 wasn't ready for that. They weren't ready to set up to punish that approach. It's so far outside of the norm that it didn't occur to them. They tried to just adjust so that they could get guns in the right places to have a fight.
Yep.
It wasn't about setting up for the appropriate defense because they knew what to do. It was because Elevate brought something that Teal Team 6 just was not ready for.
Yep, not at all. And Canadian Impact having a very nice game there. 100 fantasy points, 3,200 damage. Vetro and Ox both doing decent. Good to see Ox back up on top of the scoreboard. Dodoma here on the second page. And then External did one of those jobs that just you have to do sometimes, where you just drive into other guns. You're the one that breaks the turrets, that eats the shots. And the Foch B unloaded his clip into him, and that's kind of what they wanted. They said, look, that Foch B, he has 6 shots, he can kill any of us. So they gave him external as a sacrificial lamb.
Yep.
That's just what happens sometimes.
He did enough, as much as he could. Now, we're moving on to Sand River from map number 3. One more win here for Elevate will clear out the match. This will be it. This is the end. Teal Team 6, though, will have to come back with 4 wins in a row in order to give themselves any chance of victory in a tiebreaker.
Yep. Now, small victories for Teal Team 6. They made it to battle number 5 without hitting the spectator button. So good job, guys.
As Greg promised, 100% less spectators today.
All right, now Elevate coming in here. 3 5As, 3 bat chats, and a T100. Teal Team 6, an I7, 2 5As, 3 bat chats, and a T100 of their own.
All right, so let's follow the T100s for their opening moves. This is probably one of the first things you'll want to pay attention to in any battle. See where these T100s go, the way they drive. Notice the slight incline instead of waiting to get to the end to go straight uphill. Keeps your momentum a little bit better. Just touch the lip, and there we go. We've got spotting on external Ox Mathis, wall hacks, and we know what's going this way. We don't know what's all the way up north yet, but Viral's going to try and figure that out best he can as he goes on.
T100 does spot bat chat in the low ground, so Elevate may know this is coming. They're trying to pincer out these 2 5As. But not enough guns to really support them down in the low ground there.
Supernova
It was actually going to turn around.
Yeah, that's a smart play.
They wanted to go for it, but the second they got spotted by Canadian Impact, they knew they had to abort, or it would have been a absolutely brutal crossfire to push into.
Yeah, bat chats are retreating, trying to figure out something different to do. Viral spotting up north. Pay attention to this position. Quicker to get to, and you're able to spot that northern approach where Dodoma and Vetro are. At the same time, though, Viral is slightly exposed. He could be taking fire, but he knows that no one's paying attention because Elevate isn't. He's able to put 1 shell out and get about 265 damage where he can. Nicely done, Viral. Although it does look like some return fires coming his way. That's coming from, yes, everyone that way is. Oh, and he
nice
got
shots.
Greedy. So this is another thing to talk about as a scout, is sticking in the same place for a little too long. You let yourself get spotted once, that's fine, right? The enemy might not be ready to shoot you, they might not understand how to deal with the elevation to get a shot, and you're T100, so you're really short. You're just a hard target to hit.
Sometimes,
but you spot 6 or 7 times in the same spot, James. What's going to happen?
They're going to start lining up and looking for it. Now, the other thing to remember is this, unlike a pub match, there's no artillery in either team right now, so he's playing with that in the back of his head, that there's not going to be the artillery raining down on him every 30 seconds, which is what happens when you stay in one spot for too long. Now, the problem is sometimes if you let that mindset get in there, then you start worrying less about actual guns sometimes. So if you go, yay, no artillery, but you do something like Viral just did there, you stay too long and you end up getting punished. Now he has no choice but to back off.
Yeah, because in most pub matches, and even Clan Wars or other tournaments, there's a lot of angles that get used in this format that you will not really see quite as much anywhere else.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with the attack-defense format. Just map the positions that are commonly fought over.
And the skill tier that we're playing at?
Exactly. Or they're altered a significant bit from you know, just the general regular matches.
And this one's gearing up. We've got bat chats moving in from the south. And Elevate, Canadians just spotted Bananas and Supernova, so we know it's down there. Elevate's going to be able to figure out what to do with that. At the same time, they've still got their bat chat up in the north, kind of keeping things as they are. As long as he doesn't see any major changes, I'm expecting that Vetro will be able to keep things under control with whatever Elevate's got up their sleeve. They've still left a 5A up north, James. And I kind of wonder what's going on there. It's Dodoma, who's been chilling out in the backfield for a while. And he looks like he's finally going to shift out and prep for Elevate's big push. Once he groups up, I think that's when we're going to see.
Now, these two bat chats actually have left the zero line for Teal Team 6 without being spotted. Canadian Impact just not having the line of sight he needed on them, so they're actually going to be out of there, and that's going to be Teal Team 6 with another one of those little small victories where Elevate are now unsure where the tanks are. They think they're down there in the south. Canadian Impact had them spotted earlier, and they don't quite know that they've moved, so that's going to kind of throw Elevate off a little bit longer.
Yeah, we'll have to see what's going on for them. Because those bat chats that have just moved around, let's explore them for a second. That's Supernova, is one of those guys, and that's Bananas the Wall Host. And and they seem to be waiting for something to happen, a trigger to be pulled for them to push out. But let's return to Elevate for a moment and listen in with them, find out what's going on inside that Elevate head.
What are the chances
I'm not with that push, so if all the bats are down there.
You two have to go first.
Okay.
He's looking for a shot.
No, that's just
Really
recording.
trying to win.
He may push over when
Heavies
he
are going.
does.
Heavies are going.
He's gonna push over on you, Wally.
I know. They're pretty fucking skedaddles.
Should just leave now. We're about to do that.
Yeah, we're
Lit.
lit.
Let's keep going for speed that channel. I'll say with you.
Is he repeat?
Okay, so we're pushing in on
He
Greg here.
didn't like me. He didn't like me.
Yeah, we're just aggroing Greg.
Wait, we.
Yeah, I actually just realized that too.
Now we have our side. Just go.
Bats are going. Bats are going.
Just go down in.
I should have really so away. Shit.
Bat.
That's one of these guys.
Just fast. I have to get behind
Go,
you.
go,
I
go.
Get
have
safe.
to
You
get
have to get
behind.
safe.
Got
Just
to.
go. There's nothing there anymore, guys. Bats.
Yeah, we were already in the dip when the other guy got spotted.
Okay, keep pushing.
Oh, I fell in. Fuck.
That's what we're doing.
Why did you two keep going?
Because I thought he was talking to me. I didn't realize.
We need to counter push. Just
Keep
kill
up
the
and shoot the
I-7.
best.
Kill the I-7.
Oh, nice. 7.
Yeah, the bats are gonna be loading.
Okay, fine.
Just blocked.
Didn't mean to. Bats
Pushing
coming
pass.
behind. Bats coming behind.
Fucking wreck.
I got. Oh, okay.
Bat and the open zombie food.
Fuck. Nice. I'm reloading.
I have one left.
He bounced.
He bounced me.
I'm loading. 200 lit. He's one shot.
There's the other bat retro.
Bat behind. He can kill me. I
21.
need help.
Bats committing on me.
18. Reload.
Guys, gotta help box if you can. Supernova's almost.
That's
clipped
wasting
out.
his clip on
Supernova's
me.
clipped out. Supernova's clipped
I
out.
can
I'm
get one more
chasing.
shot.
I'm chasing.
I got him.
Can I go for banana?
That bat is reloading. Shot 5.
And that is going to be it. That is going to be Elevate picking up the victory in just a second after they kill Viral here. Boom. Gotta love that out of Elevate. They took a lot of damage early on. They pushed into that WZ, even though the crossfire was set from Teal Team 6. But you heard them talk about it, that clip management, the understanding the situation they're in, and really turning that battle around. They were down 2,000 HP when those bat chats came in, and they took down the IS-7. Plus, then the bat chat trying to kill Ox. It was just spectacular focus fire. It was Elevate being Elevate. There's no other way to say it than that's Elevate.
And to add a little bit of to that, it did sound like they were comfortable. They did not seem under any real pressure in this case. Like they understood we're gonna do just fine. We know what Teal Team's generally up to. We'll figure it out, and they just did. Because like usually Wally's a little bit more elevated than that. Yeah, just a little bit more. In this case, he just was more like a plateau.
Yeah. Well, you know, he has that strong New York accent. And,
it's
definitely can be aggressive, but overall, you know, he was pretty mellow. He got a little bit louder there on that second game, but last game anyways.
Yeah.
But that's wall hacks, the rest of the team making sure they do everything right. And remember, this is a team game. There are 7 people on the field, so you know you have to make them all work together. So you hear a lot of people, you know, questioning each other and you know doing decisions, and it's just because they're trying to figure out what's each best for both themselves and the team and how to make it work together. And in this case, you know, it really just comes down to Elevate just being that step ahead of Teal Team 6. Now, I will say this, Teal Team 6, much impressed, especially over the 3 weeks that they've played so far. This was miles better than their opening match day. Obviously, weren't able to get around, but I don't think that tells the full picture. I think they're really starting to come into their own, a lot of clever strats. The execution was pretty good. The problem, once again, though, is this is the 3rd best team in the world. This is the most winningest team in North America.
And they won in 23 minutes.
Yeah.
It took about 23 minutes in total to win this entire match. Not the fastest ever, if I'm, unless I'm mistaken, but I think that probably kind of brings that all together for you. It took 20 minutes for them to do this.
Yep. Ox top damage dealer in this last game, that 5A, 90 fantasy points. Brett, 2,900, 2 kills. Impact, Dodoma, and Vetro on the bottom half of the page for Elevate. Been in the wall host and Viral doing what they can. Then on the second page, Greg, Emu, Zombie Food, Left Hitman, and Viral down there. Wall hacks. Getting focused out in that bat chat as he tried to leave that north spot, getting the spots that he could for his team. Overall, though, just not panning out for him, but doesn't really matter because he was off on the weak flank while the rest of the team was doing most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, totally fine for him. And, well, post-match overall, Ox Mathis did well today with 313. Brett right behind him, 260, although Canadian Impact of becoming a bit of a favorite, 374 points right there. Looking down, Vetro, not the most spectacular game for him.
No, relatively quiet night, but if you look at it, damage, it was just the kills is where he really lacked out on those fantasy points. His damage is in line with the other two, really, but
he really didn't get the fantasy points. That's well below his 60 average per game.
Yep, definitely unfortunate there, but you know, still coming in at about a like 45 average there, somewhere around. So,
but do remember, 5-0s that go quite the way that they did tend to result in lower points because more battles, more points.
Yep. Now we are going to be joined by Comps for a winner interview. So, Comps, you going to put that smile back on from Tuesday, or are you guys still not happy?
I mean, it was good. It wasn't a team as, I guess, as competitive as Dare. So, you know, this one was a lot less hard on the guys and on Wally calling. So, I mean, until we face Dare again, we'll see if improvements have been made.
Okay.
So, you know, given in mind who your opponent was, do you feel this was a step in the right direction, or do you still feel there was some mistakes made that you guys shouldn't have made?
It was good. I mean, comms were good. Guys were feeling good. They were talking for the first 4 matches. Towards the last one, it got a little hectic, a little, you know, miscommunication in the comms. But overall, I mean, 5-0, you can ask for anything better.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right.
Any last things to say for the match or anything in general on this one?
Nope. I mean, I guess it was sort of expected. You know, new team in the league. I mean, they're trying their best. So, you know, kudos to them. But overall, I mean, I guess this was what it was supposed to be. So, yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, once again, Comps, any final thoughts for your fans out there?
No. I mean, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Thanks
so
very much
for joining us.
All right. That was Comps.
So, any final thoughts on that match?
No, I think Comps got it. Business as usual.
Yeah,
business as usual.
They looked pretty comfortable throughout the match. Teal Team 6 did ask some questions of them, not as consistent as Dare did, but they did their best. And like I said, you know, I can't say it enough. Like, I was legitimately impressed by Teal Team 6 this game. They played pretty well. They had a lot of strats where you could really see the ideas, especially that Runeberg offense I really liked.
That was fun to bring it back because that's an old way of doing it. Because generally teams have always set up in the north, you know, with very light defense, and then everything goes southeast, right?
Yep.
Doing that old screen tactic works in this meta, but the way it has to be executed needs some work.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that does it for our first match of the evening. Don't go anywhere, though, because we'll be back in just a few minutes with Aquatic M60s versus Top Tier. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We just watched Elevate take on Teal Team 6 and win 5-0. But now we have a new match that is going to be a lot closer than many people think for a couple different reasons.
Expected to be a lot closer. It's top tier versus Aquatic M60s.
Yep. Now we'll get to that in just a second. Just to remind you guys about our social media. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at WGLNA and also on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA. For the Facebook Live pre-show every single match day, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Get in there. Facebook Live pre-show. We go over fantasy, anything with the league, about the players, about the teams, anything you guys want to know. We'll answer those questions there, so make sure you stop by. Also, the Fantasy League.
Of course, fantasytanks.com, where we give out prizes daily, and there will be at the end of the season overall. We've got Type 59s, plenty of gold, all sorts of cool stuff. So head on over there and start participating now. Remember, tweet at us using that hashtag WGLNA, at WGLNA, and at World of Tanks, of course, too. And we may feature your tweets here on the broadcast. So just a reminder, don't forget about that, guys. And, hey, James, we've also got the offline matches going right now, sir.
Yep. So that's going to be right now, Dare Rising versus 07. That's currently 1-1 after Mines. And then we are going to have Eclipse up 1-0 versus F7, excuse me.
We'll see how those ones progress a little later on.
We'll bring you guys updates as they go on throughout the night.
Yep.
However, let's move on to our match at hand, which once again is going to be top tier versus Aquatic M60s.
So top tier. Rumor is that Rude Awakening is not here today. And as I look through the training room right now where teams are testing their tanks right now, it does not look like Rude is present. So that is a note to kind of put in there.
And that is going to be a big loss for top tier. Now, I did hear that he was gone at least part of the way through the match versus F7 the other day, despite top tier still managing to hold on and win. But you do have players in this team like Exits, Mariel, Delph, Hako, very capable players in their own. And then Jojo Jackie has really become a star in this lineup so far this season. So another person to keep an eye on for sure. And then Smiley Rage, former teammate of a lot of them, rejoining the team during the last roster change.
Yep. And on the other side, Aquatic M60s, they're doing okay in position 7. Not too great on their attacks. Their defenses have been all right, but they're shaky. Not the greatest expectations right now. We're hoping that they can get stuff together, focus up, and really bring that Aquatic M60s gameplay that we're used to from past seasons.
The loss of Bales and Dark Ninja from this team has really hurt them, kind of set them back a little bit. And they've kind of struggled to really regain their form and get everyone back on the same page. They picked up 2 great players in Pupil and Big Cheese. Big Cheese, former player from, I believe it was Hammer Time back in the day. And then Pupil coming over from Eclipse. He's been in Eclipse's starting lineup off and on for the last few seasons.
Yeah, all together a team full of solid individual players.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing them not quite come together as a team as we'd hope. So maybe that could be early season jitters. We're halfway there now, so it's time for Aquatic to kind of button up and get ready to put some points on the board if they want to stay in this and have a chance at going to the live finals.
Yeah, and they've been a team that has constantly been the roller coaster for the most part. They have some really high games. They look really good, upset some teams. They go strong into the playoffs, and then they hit that slope, and they go down really, really fast.
Yeah, they're still very dependent on those elements that dictate their performance. A lot of the more experienced teams like Eclipse and Elevate, generally those same factors, like just what side you woke up what side of the bed you woke up today on. Elevate and Eclipse can deal with that, but Aquatic, not so much.
Yeah, definitely. Now that we've gone over the rosters, let's go ahead and take a look at the map bans as they came in and see exactly who's sitting where. Sand River and Mines both being banned out from both teams. No surprise there. We haven't seen top tier play Sand River much this season.
They just probably don't want to touch it.
And Mines, just that's such a 1-in-1 map. And despite it being one of M60's better maps in seasons past, this season they really haven't seemed to gel on it. So no surprise there.
Yeah, a lot of the changes really kind of took away their strengths on that map. Ruinberg as the first map, a nice 1-in-1 to start this one off. However, we've been seeing more and more attacks succeeding on this map, so watch out for that. Aquatic will be defending first, so this is the chance for top tier to start on a really good first step.
So, fun fact for you guys:
What?
Runeberg and Murrow.
What?
Last season and the season before, they were the 2 highest defensive win rate maps we had in the league. This season, they are the 2 most attacking-sided maps with the highest win rates on attack so far this season. So, just a little tidbit there. That's just overall in the league, not for these 2 teams, but just overall. So, kind of interesting to see how that's shaped up. Then we're going to have 2 more bands come in here.
Cliff and Himmelsdorf. Okay, Cliff makes sense for top tier. Get rid of a map that Aquatic seems comfortable on, right?
Yep.
And then Himmelsdorf, Aquatic doesn't like it because, well, they just don't seem to like it at all, really.
Well, and that's a map that top tier really excel at, mostly because of Rude, who doesn't seem to be here tonight. But Rude, it's one of those tactical maps where moving as a unit and understanding the crossfires really comes into play. And so when you have a caller of his caliber that knows how to move around and keep your guys together, they've had some masterclass performances on it, including at the last season finals. They took the first round off of Elevate on Himmelsdorf all season at our finals. So, you know, it's a map that they clearly are comfortable on.
And then final maps, Ghost Town and Prohorovka. So Ghost Town, very 1-1 for these teams, I'd expect.
Yep. And then Prokhorovka map that top tier have played a lot this season, been very aggressive, taking that mid control to something they're trying to make a staple, I feel, of themselves.
But again, like you said earlier, top tier, Rude Awakening. If Rude's not here, will they perform at the same level? Because if you remember, we had one outstanding listen-in with Rude where he broke down literally everything that was going to happen.
Didn't even have tanks spotted. He said, this is where I believe they are. This tank's probably here. This guy's over here. So this is what we're going to do. We're gonna
and he was
this way. And it was spot on without having any intel. And so it's just losing a player like that in this roster hurts. Yeah. Now, there's one thing I will note, though, while they're out him, you got to look at the players they have on their team. They got X-Soldier and Smiley Ridge. Two callers who've called in the Gold League before. They have the experience. Now, are they at the same level as Rude? Probably not.
X-Soldier actually, maybe. Depends. X-Soldier is exceptional as a player. And I think a lot of the time he gets underestimated. Whether or not he's still at the same caliber he was back in his heyday, that I guess might be a question. Or just, is he the person who this team responds to?
Well, it's not going to matter, though, because they're both actually riding the bench on the lineup here as far as who's starting. So that's interesting. So I'm kind of curious. We'll have to do a listen and see who's taking over control of that team.
Yeah.
Now, let's go ahead and get 2 predictions now that we've gone over all of that. It's going to be close. M60s are struggling. Top tier, if they had Rude Awakening, I would have said like a 5-1. But the fact that he's not that presence in this team, I think they have the individual skill to still grind it out. But I don't think it's going to go in their favor.
I did something I don't know if I'll regret. Because I heard Rude Awakening wasn't here, I kind of wanted to say that Aquatic might take this away. And this was earlier today when we hadn't really gotten to feel out much more about these teams. But knowing Rude was gone, my bet was 5-3. I might keep it, but I honestly, it could go either way. I think it'll be close.
I will say this, in terms of the overall standings right now, this is a vital match for M60s. They really could use the points right now. They are sitting in 7th place. If they really want a chance to get in the playoffs and get a decent seed, not just scrape in at 6th place like they have in seasons past, this would be an absolutely massive win for them to pick up.
All right. Well, I'm being told that we have both representatives from either team ready for the face-off. So, gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We've got Fixer Reloaded. Hey, sir. I don't think we've seen you here for quite some time. And Mr. Man, welcome back, as always.
How's it going?
Pretty good. All right, Fixer, let's start with you. So, Rude Awakening, not here. What's up?
He's just been quite busy with real life and stuff. You know, I think he recently got a new job, so that's kind of draining him. And we're kind of being forced to pick up the slack now, since he was mainly the think guy. You know, he thought everything out. He did all the strats and all that stuff. So with him gone, you know, we're all trying to pick it up.
All right.
Who's calling?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, who's calling for top tier? Can you tell us?
You guys will have to find out.
All right.
All right. That's a huge vote of confidence right there. All right, Mr. Man. You guys have kind of been struggling a little bit off and on so far this season. Some poor results, a few decent ones, but overall, you know, there's no argument. You guys are struggling compared to seasons past. Where are you guys at right now going into the second round robin? Do you think you're on track to turning it around? Are you still on the struggle bus? Where are you at?
I think our team overall, we have a lot of problems that we need to address. Mainly right now, it's just about addressing the biggest problems and trying to get as many points as we can so that we can hopefully make it into playoffs and, you know, go from there. But, yeah, right now we're just working on fixing as many of the big problems as we can.
I have a question for you, Mr. Man, because I decided to bank and bet on you guys today. Earlier, we had some predictions you might have heard. I don't know. James here has picked Top Tier 5-3. I've picked Aquatic M60s 5-3. So, Mr. Man, why am I right?
You know, we've upset people in the past. You know, depending on how the maps go. I think if we get an early lead, then that definitely helps us a lot mentally, and we'll be able to finish off the match. So.
All right, fair enough. Fixer Reloaded, Top Tier. Any final thoughts for Mr. Man or Aquatic M60s?
All I gotta say is good luck, man.
All right, Mr. Man, any final thoughts for Fixer Reloaded and Top Tier?
Good luck. Have fun.
All right, we'll see you guys on the battlefield. All right, so that coming out of Top Tier,
yep.
Who's calling? We'll find out.
Yep. Big old question mark. And then Aquatic telling us if they get some early wins, they'll be fine. This is something that we've kind of noticed before, momentum-based, where if you're already doing well, they'll keep doing well. If they can't quite get a good start, if this goes 1-1 a few times, they'll probably start getting a little bit unfocused, tired maybe, and things might not continue going Aquatic's way. And Top Tier is one of those teams that once they seem to perceive weakness or smell blood in the water, as it were, they just go.
Now, one thing to note is filling in the captain's role is Muriel. He's the one that's taken over that responsibility for the team right now.
Clerically, though, I only knew he was doing it clerically, as in, like, end of the day replays and stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly. In Rude's absence, he's the one that stepped up and is taking care of all of that.
But does that necessarily mean he's calling? Is the question.
Well, that's the thing. I said he's taking over as captain. That means he's taking over as caller. It could be two separate people.
Huh?
Well, a lot of teams are set up like that. You have, say, Elevate. You have comps out of game, wall hacks in game. Same thing with this. So we'll have to find out. We'll try to do a listen in a little bit with Top Tier and see what's going on. Now, lineups coming in for the first game on Ruinberg: 2 Mice, 2 5As, and 3 Bat Chats for Top Tier. Aquatic M60s, 2 IS7s, 2 5As, and 3 Bat Chats. We head into the first game. Let's find out if Aquatic M60s can plug enough of those holes in the bottom of their M60s. They struggle along across the lake field.
Yeah, I get you, buddy. All right, we're going to jump in game in just a minute. But with these lineups, the Mouse on attack, 2 of them, versus 2 IS7s on defense. Those IS7s are probably going down the 0 line, right?
You would have to think, or at least one of them. The problem is a lot of these teams have gotten really good at catching out tanks, pushing down there. And with this lineup that Top Tier have, the 5As, the Bat Chats, I would not be surprised to see them get very aggressive in the south.
You might be right with that. Marsh 166 is heading in the direction to go 0 line, while Big Cheese is headed towards... Is he going Fountain or Mid-Road? Looks like he might stop up at Fountain for early spotting. That makes a lot of sense. From there, he's got a decent hull down, and we've got Marsh in the IS7 chasing up Felix 5A, 2 Bat Jets heading way south. Now, Marsh, it looks like these IS7s are actually going to play somewhat defensively, to which I have to say skeptically. I feel like stronger choices may have been in order, but maybe not. I could be wrong. I could be being too harsh in this case. Well, Bat Jets get spotted in the south. They do not spot anything in return. Everything from Top Tier. Oh, as I say that, there goes one of the Mouse. That's it's not a Hako, it's Loptov Mid-Road. He gets spotted finally, as well as Muriel and Fixer Reloaded. So right now, Aquatic thinks everything's about south.
We're going to see a very similar play to what we saw out of Teal Team 6 here. They have these tanks in the middle road, and these Bat Chats are streaking along in the back here. So keep an eye on them, as I expect them to push into this A6 village at the same time this Mouse gets to this cap. If they can go for that pick onto Pupil, they can open up this north cap and really try to bait them as they come back. And at this point, JoJo is not spotted. They do not know that this Bat Chat's here. And he's actually going to stop by cap, so choosing not to push in.
Instead actually taking a slightly harder to spot route. No, they're going to get on cap.
They're going to get on cap.
Oh, fast cap. Okay. I expected a little screening from Exits and Joe Jackie. Normally you would expect one of them to go past so that spotting can happen, but in this case it might not be necessary because of the way mid's going right now. Marsh is going to be moving around the backfield. IS7 actually working out away here. It's mobility coming into play. But I don't know if he's going to be able to close the distance towards cap and get the resets.
Well, and here's the thing, is Pupil, he only is going to have the shots on that Mouse. The 2 Bat Chats, they're tucked in nice and tight behind that Mouse, and so right now, Pupil's going to have to commit, and the guns are set up to punish that. Now, the Bat Chat is coming in the background. That's Morphic and Marsh. Another shot going to track, and look at the time, 5 seconds. He's going to get 1 reset. That's only a partial reset. They need to find a shot onto the Bat Chats. He's going to get 1 more chance. The guns are probably going to line up on Pupil here as he crosses out into the open. Exits, sticks his neck out, gets reset. 17 seconds on the cap.
When
there's everyone reset. Now this is where top tier needs to respawn. They have this team where they want them, and the focus fires are coming through. Bat shots are opening up. Pupil should go down with one more connection. He does. But now the bat shots are pushing in. They know that these bat shots have emptied their clips onto Pupil. This is the time for them to push.
And there's Giggles moving in, but he immediately gets whacked. And there he goes. Mr. Man now here with his own eyes on Oghako. One more shelf will finish him off. And there he goes. He finally gets Oghako. Not bad. Not bad play. He's also not spotted, I notice, as Morphic moves in. Nicely played. Now Mr. Man's spotted.
Delph's reloading and Fix reloaded, just pushing in against Felix. And there really aren't too many guns in position to support. Morphic's down on the low ground. Mr. Man's in the buildings. Big Cheese doesn't have a shot, so Felix is all alone here, 2 versus 1, with a full bat chat.
Oh, and a bounce from Exits is actually going to let Morphic get 1 extra shell out. Very nice for top tier, as right now only 2 tanks are alive. Only 2 are left alive against top tier. Better positioning from top tier. Aquatic had to expose way too many tanks at inopportune times to try and get resets. Ultimately weren't able to get a real cohesive strategy going as a response.
Not how I saw that game being played out, but effective from top tier.
Effective. A lot of that came down to Aquatic's response. Aquatic responded in a way that allowed them to spot the cap, get some resets, but the problem was tanks really just showed up when they could. It wasn't like anyone grouped up or crossfires were able to get set up. No one got into the backfield to be able to create a crossfire. So the real struggle for Aquatic there was trying to figure out that proper response, and they weren't ready for it. There were way too many tanks down south for them to be able to respond appropriately, and the tanks that had approached into the middle of the map threw Aquatic off. They thought this was going to be a south attack, old school style, but once they discovered that it wasn't, it was a bit too late for them to do anything appropriate.
Yeah, well, and the positioning of Pupil was a big factor there. Because he was playing on the south end of that town instead of spotting through one of the bushes, he never saw the Batchats approach that village. And now, even if the Batchats had pushed in, he still wouldn't have spotted them. Now, top tier don't know that. However, the pathing they took, they were not spotted, and they got the cap without taking any damage at all. And then they were able to hide behind the mouse there, and they were able to keep that cap pressure up, and that...
That's why it's important to spot the north.
Yeah, you have to have that early warning there. It's not... A lot of teams try to go with the philosophy it's enough to just have 1 tank up there so you don't have to fight as hard to retake it and you can get those resets. But the thing that was underestimated there was just the intel. They didn't know what was where. They didn't have that early warning to move tanks around. There was just all of a sudden 3 tanks on cap, and Pupil didn't have a choice but to push in. Now looking at the damage, Big Cheese doing what he can and getting a lot of damage off, but 60 fantasy points, then Lebtev here doing another 63.
On the second page, things start to really fall off, and Giggles is probably one to look at. He got whacked, did not have a chance really to deal much damage at all. Really unfortunate when that happens to a bat chat. But we're going to get ready for the next battle. We're going to flip sides here on Ruinberg, and we're going to see how top tier defends with 2 Mouths, 3 5As, a Fosh B, and a Bat Chat versus Aquatic M60 with a 50B played by Felix, of course. 2 IS-7s, 2 5As, and 2 Bat Chats. Now, the damage output from Aquatic's lineup is concerning to me versus the lineup I'm seeing from top tier games. With those 2 Mouse, the Fosh, everything that's out there, am I right to be a little bit worried that this attack might just kind of fall on its face, or might just really not be able to open the doors?
It really depends upon how aggressive Aquatic are. Sometimes just by overwhelming force and good focus fire, the lack of tanks with high DPM can be negated, and you can really make it work for them. And the right tanks in the right positions. It was a talk we were going to have earlier, but we ran out of time about.
Yeah.
There are 2 types, we've talked about it before. There are 2 types of tanks that you bring. There's tanks that are just overall really round balanced, or there are tanks that are specialty tanks that do one thing really, really well. But then you have the subcategory of that is that 1 tank that does something really, really well worth bringing. And that seems to be what both teams are opting for, especially with that Fosh B and the IS-7s here.
Yep. And out of the opening moves, we see a little spotting from Muriel. He's able to find quite a few tanks from Aquatic on the attack. And that allows for top tier to find their appropriate response. They're going to be moving heavy tanks into position. We've noticed possibly a 50B, at least Delta suspects one, right down the F-road, which he's called correctly. Now he finds out that he was correct, and there is in fact 50B out there. Fortunately, no connection from him. And Delta's going to wiggle, see what he can do to avoid another shell.
Fixer's actually going to push in, start simping, and now these 5As are just going to go forward. They know that 50B is out, and so they're going to push forward, trying to find the shots on the cap. Top tier have just left a single mouse in that village. It's going to be a hard tank to kill. Foshby behind them, ready to punish, but they need to make sure they do it right. And the 5As, they're just moving straight up this town, straight to the side of the tanks from Aquatic M60s. Now the focus fire needs to be key here as Leptev starting to take a lot of damage from these Chinese heavy tanks, firing those heat shells into this giant German behemoth.
Yep, he really needs to work on that angle, but not able to do it. Just too much pressure, and he takes plenty of damage, blocks about 1,000. And we'll have to see where this one goes, because now there's one tank up. Hit points right now look about even. So we'll have to see what the next kill is, what that crucial next move. There goes Fixer. That's a second gun off the battlefield for top tier.
Now HP is basically even, despite 2 guns alive still for Aquatic M60s. So top tier, if they want to turn this one around, they need to pick up a couple kills quickly.
That they do. And if they can't do that, this will be going in favor of Aquatic. They just need to wait a few moments, and that'll happen. There we go. Exits nearly reloaded. Once he is, I'm expecting that's where top tier has any chance of coming back, simply by that damage potential. And he fires one.
Now Real is off in the town in the distance here. He is going to find the shot onto Felix, gets the kill.
That's good. Something you can work with. 3,000 to 5,000. Exits, moves in, Giggles flanking. Big Cheese moves up, gets himself killed. Nicely played by Exits.
3v5 right now. Muriel needs to make these last 3 shots really count if they want to have a chance in this fight. Trying to find a shot onto Morphic here, but that's going to be a Kako going down. Exits getting 1 shot off, only has 2 left in his clip. And this is a seemingly impossible task left for top tier.
Whoa, what is Exits going for? Nicely played from Aquatic. Muriel trying to throw a few shells sniped out there. His last one alive, 3k damage to deal, 1,400 hit points himself.
And just like I said before this battle started, you can sometimes having less DPM doesn't really matter as long as you go for that raw aggression, and that's exactly what M60s did there. They just drove straight up into that village. They took the fight to top tier. They caught them off guard. They got all their guns together. The coordination from Aquatic M60s was near perfect.
The response from top tier was not quick enough to really stop them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what you go for when you go for those raw, aggressive tactics. Now, blatant aggression without coordination is not going to get you anywhere. But well-coordinated, raw aggression hitting one spot will do enough to confuse your opponent and surprise them and put them on their back foot. And if you can keep that momentum up, you can do exactly what Aquatic M60s did here, which just snowballs out of effect.
I believe the phrase is violence of action.
Yeah. Now, some people mistake that for just raw aggression, just driving at your opponents, which isn't the case. You have to have that element of coordination there.
You have to, yeah.
It has to be controlled chaos.
Yes. Make the engagements happen where you want them, and if you do them swiftly enough and you know what you're about, you can generally clean things up, deal with whatever improvisation you have to. And what's Muriel going to do now?
Oh, there's only 1 tank on cap. The rest of Aquatic M60s are going to be spread out across that whole Delta Village and the Zero line, just waiting for him to show up somewhere, and Muriel just chilling out right now.
Yep, these are the positions where everyone's just waiting for Muriel to show up. We'll see. We'll see where they go. But Muriel seems to be waiting for someone to just kind of come hunting for him. He knows the tanks from Aquatic are low enough health, so he can, maybe pick up a free kill. But Muriel also knows that letting this cap out is probably what's going to have to happen. I don't know. There's 25 seconds left. If he goes the direction he's going now, I'm not sure he'll be able to reset cap in time.
He's just taking the unspotted approach, trying to get to that middle ridge as quickly as he can, but I don't think he realizes that there's going to be tanks on top of this high ground that should spot him here any second.
That's kind of what I'm waiting for. He should get spotted, and once that happens, if he decides to run on in, he'll have 2 seconds in order to make a connecting shot.
Snap it off.
One,
gonna find Morphic. Actually bounces one.
All right, there we go. Gets a reset, but bounces one onto Morphic. Focus fire comes in, and where's that last shell? Where's that last shell?
Giggles missing there.
There we go.
Finally, Morphic picks it up.
That's Aquatic tying it up.
1-1.
All right. So Aquatic loses their first battle. They win battle number 2. We move on to Murrow now.
And once again, attackers on Ruinberg. It's completely backwards from how it was the last couple of seasons, but the switch to 770, having that extra HP, the extra gun seems to be what it needed to kind of switch it around and really push it in favor of the attacking side.
Mm-hmm. So now we're moving on to Murrow. And, well, the way these guys are playing right now, I'm really liking the way Aquatic was playing in the brawls. They seem to be a little bit more comfortable, top tier. They seem to have some strats up their sleeves, but there does seem to be something a little shaky with them.
Well, I mean, when you have a presence like Root in that team, you do have to remember that top tier, I believe, right now is our youngest on average team right now, just across the overall ages. So the player, you know, when you have Root in the team, the older, more mature of the group, the one that has the coordination and the experience, when you remove him from it, things can get a little bit chaotic. So we'll have to see if they can pull it together. Now, Muriel doing what he can, even at the end there, picking up some extra damage. 3,300 damage, 72 fantasy points. Morphic, though, 3 kills, doing what he can for his team. Now on the second page here, Felix in that 50B, 2k damage, 44 fantasy points. Big Cheese, another 2k. Delth, Fixer, Jojo, and Leptev all on the bottom there for top tier, not really able to get into the fight much. And Leptev in the mouse really just got focused out pretty early on.
Yeah, he got torn apart. So now we move on to Murrow. So with Murrow, very much a one-on-one map. We are expecting a lot of slower plays, probably some passive scouts in the southeast, little T100 deal right there. Part of me wants top tier to do something crazy. Part of me doesn't expect anything crazy from Aquatic.
Remember the last time we saw top tier play Murrow?
Yeah.
If they can bring those sort of strats, if, you know, I'm assuming they've practiced them a good bit, they understand them, it's not just Rude just coming up with them on the fly, I think they'll be just fine here, but they really have to make those work. Now, Aquatic M60s on their hand, they have to attack, and to do that, they're bringing an i7, a mouse, a 5A, a Sturv, Mr. Man playing the Sturv, no surprise there, and 3 Batchats. Top tier, an i7, 3 5As, Batchat. Smiley Rage being subbed in, and an M48 Patton, and Muriel playing the T100.
Okay, nothing crazy there. Patton for vision, and damage output hasn't been horrible on the Patton players.
High shell velocity does make it nice at long range.
Yep, easier to shoot those bats as they run around. But only one T100. An Aquatic on attack. I mean, on attack, you don't really need the T100. It's not really going to do much for you, except on defense, where Muriel has chosen one of the more forward and well-known passive hiding spots in a bush. So just pay attention to that for now. He's got great vision on the cap. Huge blind spot to the south because of all the bush cover and hard cover. So there's a slight disadvantage in that, but ultimately it's not going to kill you. So we'll move on and look to the north.
And Aquatic M60s seemingly worried about some sort of forest push because they have not spotted the tanks from top tier. So they're being real slow clearing out that forest. In fact, they're moving all their tanks over there because they seem to be worried about that.
Yep. And what we'll have is probably a little bit of there we go. Come on, Giggles, you can do the push. Share his extra horses. And Giggles is going to push Marsh up to speed. It's a great way to get i7s and other heavy tanks there a little faster. Just get a little choo-choo train of death and use that extra horsepower from the Bad Chats to make that i7 go a little bit faster. You're seeing he's really booking it right now. And small toll to pay, 10 points.
Reminds me of some old games on Himmelsdorf using the 5100s to push their S3s up the hill, get them there faster.
That's important, especially when you're playing for time. In this case, what I expect Aquatic is doing is they're just trying to get that i7 into position. They'll leave once they realize it's safe, and probably back off to go be annoying somewhere else.
I actually don't know that that's what they're going to go for. They pulled all their tanks out of the 3-4 lane, if you look at that. They had the tanks there early, but they've joined them in the forest, which to me signals that they're going to stay more towards that south 2 cap, because why? They were never together to make that push, so why move your tanks away from there if that's what you're going for?
I see what you're saying. You might be right, actually, but that depends on the mouse. If that mouse keeps going south, I totally agree. If not, and the mouse kind of stays around his grid lines there, maybe not. Maybe I'm not sure. You know, but but if you head south, that's definitely what the plan is. So watching Big Cheese. Yeah, okay, you're right, James. You called it. The mouse going into that position is the big tell.
Yeah, the strat they set up for was set up for early aggression, trying to make sure that they don't push just blindly down that 1, 2, 3 line, trying to catch them out maybe. But the problem is that once they cleared that 7, 8 line, they pulled them out of that north area, which to me says that they're not planning to retake it, because that's why you leave tanks up there to start, is so you don't have to go through that painstaking process of retaking a dug-in position.
Yeah.
And by giving it up, to me that signals that they're not planning to use it at all at this point.
All right, so now, big question is, can Aquatic get onto Cap without getting spotted? Mr. Man approaches, stops, begins Cap. He's got camo net and binoculars, so once he stops for a few seconds, there we go. He spots Lop. And Lop takes some fire, 497, not bad there. And a little blind fire coming towards the Cap even. And what we're going to be looking for is that T100, James. See if he's going to be forced to move. As right now, he is trying to see what that blind angle is onto Mr. Man. That's his job right now, figuring out why can't I see this guy? Although Big Cheese finally gets himself spotted in the mouse.
Yeah, Smiley Rage actually takes a shot as well on the patent down there in the forest.
Yeah, nicely positioned by Mr. Man. He can see everything.
Now, risky here coming out of top tier. Batchat pushing up that the one line by himself.
Probably
now,
going
there's
around
nothing,
for a flank.
There's nothing there right now, but they don't know that. That's why part of me thinks it's risky. You know,
it's a necessary
only
risk.
Tank. Yeah, it's a gamble they're willing to take, because if, say, he came across a couple tanks, they haven't spotted. The reason it's risky is they haven't spotted many of the tanks. They've only spotted the mouse at this point. They don't know where the rest of the guns are past some blind fire. So him pushing in here, he doesn't know that there's, say, 3 Batchats sitting in a bush back in, you know, A1. It's been done before. Big ball of cheese, but it would have gotten him dead, and they would have been able to leave before the rest of the guns.
There, Muriel moves. Out in the open, he spots Mr. Man, forces a reset on the Cap. Mr. Man booking it. Oh, he barely gets out alive. He's got only 377 hit points. Nicely played by top tier. Very risky. Muriel takes a lot of damage for that, but it does save this battle for top tier for now.
Muriel driving like a madman to get away there.
Yeah, has to. Nicely played. All of a sudden, there's no real warning. There's no huge heads up that top tier gave away, and just Muriel goes. It was just nicely done. Aquatic probably wasn't truly ready for that.
Yeah, it's just a firing battery that top tier have on top of this hill, just ready to blind fire the Cap. 4 Chinese heavy tanks, well 3, and then the I-7 and then the patent down in the forest. So even if they don't have a line of sight, just by sheer volume, they should be able to find at least, you know, a couple resets. You'd have to think if their coordination is good enough.
Yep. Now we've got someone else on Cap again. It's going to be Giggles this time. A nice and healthy Batchat. Reasonably stealthy. He's got his coffee and croissant ready to go. So nice and stealthy, should be just fine. He'll be safe here for a little while until Muriel or somebody decides to make a run for it. Although maybe some blind fire could get a reset. That's all you're looking for. Alcaco spotted. And that Batchat in the north looks like he's still trying to move around.
Have to see if anyone's even close.
No, no one's even close. No one's even close. Yeah, yeah, this is gonna be fun. Although that Batchat is starting to get into the backfield. And in a moment, he's probably gonna be the one expected to get some spotting or something. Once that happens though. That'll be when this devolves or evolves, whatever you want to look at it. Is that a good change or a bad one? Into a nice big brawl. We'll see. There's Muriel moving out in the open. He is spotted. Everyone's holding their fire.
The spots yet. They do find Giggles, and all the tanks for top tier lining up their shots. Gonna start focusing off the fire. Giggles taking a brunt of the damage. Not enough to kill him though, and they still haven't found Mr. Man. And now Muriel's dead. A lot of the lights are gonna come down to Delph. Problem is he's gonna stumble across some tanks here in a second, I think.
Mm-hmm. Just a moment, although he's probably gonna want to back off. That was risky. Giggles inches himself back onto Cap. And Big Cheese is making a move. So what is Big Cheese is going to move forwards, make sure he can just see what's on that hill.
That might actually be the door that Delph needs, though, to get in behind, because that mouse has left that position. They have no eyes behind their tanks on Cap. So So with 15 seconds left, Delph could be the hero right now. He could come in and get those resets.
Maybe so. Jump back and see what's happening with the Sturv. Delph is spotted. Mr. Man knows. Mr. Man spotted.
They're all spotted. That's going to be
nice
the main
kill.
cap points, and now the focus fire needs to be solid. Delph taking a lot of damage, and he gets focused out, but that's the resets for top tier. Now they can slow it down. 2.5 minutes left on the clock.
Big Cheese out in the open, not a whole lot of support. Everyone from Aquatic was distracted trying to deal with that bad chat in the back, and that allows Hako to close the distance. Big Cheese starts to try and play a little more conservatively, but is probably a bit too late at this point. He should go down in any minute. Hako's on fire, though, and he will burn almost all the way down. 128 left.
They're trying to find some shots onto Marsh right now, who's caught out in the open as Felix does take down Hako to finish him off.
Minute 50 left. This has to end in kills now for Aquatic M60.
If they put multiple on cap, they can still do it that way.
Unlikely, though. Very likely you get reset. It's hugely risky at this point.
I agree. It's not the right choice, but it's still an option.
Yeah, just probably won't work. It could bait a push, which would result in kills. Could do that. But probably not going to work so well.
Blup picks up the kill onto Marsh.
And Jojo, I think, is going to be the one to lead the push so that he can see if he can get a reset on cap. If he can, awesome. If he can't, then that will probably be where Aquatic can close this one out. Jojo's spotted, though. So the minute he's available, the minute he's open, this is great for him. It's going to be difficult.
Here come the resets. They just need to get another reset or two to seal this. Now Felix is in a good position here, picks up the kill onto Jojo.
Nice.
The thing here is that top tier need to keep a tank alive. This isn't over yet. The cap has been reset. They can still go for the kills. Now, Smiley Rage is still engaged, still getting shots from distance. Only 2 left alive. Now, he needs to make sure that he doesn't die. Now, the cap now is pretty much no longer an option. Another couple shots come out there, but they need to make sure that one of them stays alive, and Smiley Rage is the only one fast enough to do that. And Fixer's going to do what he can to stall him out. Now, Smiley Rage is spotted right now. They know where he is. 24 seconds on the clock.
There we go, closing the distance. Felix does not care. Oh, but that bounce is really going to hurt. And Morphic is just going to go for
target priority. Going for the tracking shot, and he gets it, buying that time for Smiley Rage to get away. And that should seal this for top tier. That should be their second win of the match.
Should be 0, and wait for it. Yep, there we go.
That's great execution.
Great execution.
But that is how you burn down a clock. You waste a lot of time. You get the resets. You manage your HP, even if it's not pretty. You do it right. You slow it down, get the reset after reset. One at a time, they used tanks, threw them away, even though it cost them. They had the rest of their tanks together in a good position. They really punished the tanks from Aquatic M60s. It was how to defend that cap 101 is what that was.
Exactly. And Aquatic did not do an excellent job at making that too difficult. There was always that option for top tier to just send a tank out and get the spotting. And Aquatic, I think, probably wants to do a better job at that next time. They probably want to deal with that screen a little bit better. More vision control and some small other adjustments to their general approach should improve their performance next time.
And Fixer Reloaded, I must say, 4K damage, 1 kill, 90 fantasy points, but also that huge play at the end there to stop the bat chat. You know, opting to not shoot Felix, knowing that he can't catch Smiley Rage, going for the one tank that could. And not only did he put a shot into him, he got the tracking shot, which what was already going to be a low probability that he got there, that pretty much just sealed the deal at that point.
Just good individual play.
Great individual play. Now, on the second page here, Mr. Man only able to get 1 shot at damage, and Murillo also, the other surprising one down there, Guseg. Now, he was in the light tank, did YOLO in.
His job was spotting.
Yeah, so he'll not getting many fantasy points, sadly, but, you know, did his job and was a key part to really drawing that game out and burning that clock down.
Now we look at the lineups as we're ready for battle number 4 here. Murrow, IS-7, Mouse, 5 A's, 2 of them, a Sturv, 2 Bat Chats for top tier. And on Aquatic, a single Mouse, 5A, 103B, and 4 Bat Chats, so highly mobile defense with a strong Mouse, 5A, and 103B to make up the core. On the attack, though, that's a lot heavier, a lot more hit points, and less burst, but in a way more alpha.
Yep, and one other thing I will say real quick about that last game was Murillo actually had almost 4,000 spotting damage and 4 spots, so he did his job. Now, looking at it, at these lineups, Aquatic M60s on defense this time, bringing the Mouse to S7 and that Sturv, but also bringing some Batchats, and it looks like they're going to set up with very similar to what Elevate did, hammer and anvil type strat. A couple tanks on one flank, big, slow, hard to kill, make sure they don't get bullied around, use the Batchats mobility to flex around on the other side of the map. Sturf covering the Batchats for the time being.
A little Batchat Muriel in the lead as a scout. I like this little angle he always takes, which is right along the edge of the forest. Slight defilade. You can get a little bit of spotting, play it relatively safe, loop back to defend with the rest of your team, but ultimately not a super aggressive scout. Plays it safe. And that's going to get top tier into the forest without too many issues.
And they're going to go ahead and clear this 9-0 as a team. The Mouse just pushing straight down that 7 line right now. And the Batchats for Aquatic M60s opting to leave that south K line right now. Just look at the mini-map, you can see them leaving that bottom K5 spot, getting over into the forest along with Mr. Man. Which right now, what I'm assuming they're going to do is they're going to group up their Batchats. Now that they know that just from Marsh's early scouting run, they know that there's likely 9 tanks in the north. They're going to group up all their fast tanks, their Batchats, and clear the north. And so they're going to flip the hammer and anvil around. Before they were ready to you know, put the anvil towards the 1 cap and use the hammer to clear the forest. Now what they're going to do is turn it around. They're going to put the anvil facing the 2 cap and use the hammer to clear out this 1-2 line and maybe take control up there.
Cool. We're going to go ahead and, though, take a listen in with top tier, see what they have to say as they are on the attack, and they have inched closer and closer to cap number 2.
I'm going to come down the 9-9 now.
Yeah, go for it. Move towards the total builder.
Can you start poking vision? See where the light, or see where the bat is?
I'm at the total building. Merle, fix their peak
We need spots on north just so they don't do the same thing we did.
Yeah. Moss is the one watching north.
Oh, okay. What do you want the bats doing?
Spotting. We're gonna try to dig out. Most likely. Are you spotted? No, I didn't. Nope. Okay, bats, hang around with their Wheezies. Because they're not doing the bush camp. They might just YOLO through a center.
Yeah. I didn't get spotted when I was doing a loop near the bottom part. But
want me to get on?
Hold on. I'm thinking they're gonna just YOLO us directly with their bats and their moss. They're gonna send our moss as soon as we get something.
They don't have to do anything yet.
Yeah, because we haven't gotten pressure or anything.
We have to do something to gun cap because it's run.
I go for it.
I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm getting on the low side where they had their stir.
Don't siege up, that way you can leave fast.
Hey, Wheezy, hang around the lower side of that mound Hako's on, like F8, who is in the forest, because if they YOLO, they YOLO the freaking E7.
I'm on cap.
Yeah, I see you.
We want them to let him have it and just YOLO into us, and we just fight him there.
All right, I have my chem up.
Just don't move now. Since you're not at siege.
You have to be like a pro player, just constantly pressing W and S for no reason.
They hit really close to me.
You're blind firing?
Yeah. From the mid-ridge, or from the ridge.
They have nothing spotting, so you won't be able to consistently reset anyway.
Yeah. If they YOLO a bat, we need to delete them fast. Yeah. The JoJo, yeah.
Spot drive up a little bit, and then...
No.
They're north or no?
I didn't get lit yet.
Batch, 9 line.
My chem
They're north, they're all north.
Yeah, that's a lot of bat shots clipping.
I think it's only one.
Yeah, it's only one batch.
Well, only confirmed one.
I'm about to double pressure.
I got lit inside this building. Yeah, they're in the middle. From the window. They're in the village somewhere.
Oh, here's one.
Spotted.
I lit him.
No, you're lit.
It's a Sturban monster. We're gonna kill north. Kill north.
Another batch over here. They could have 4 bats, Smiley. We need to be careful. Oh, they have another bat there. They're gonna dump on Smiley a lot.
Play it smart.
Never mind. They're not. They can't anymore.
Dixer, you make him kill Felix.
Lot, be careful.
Don't go zoning. Can you guys kill him?
Googles.
Open.
I tracked.
No, it does. Calm down.
Okay, we back off.
I have 4, but I got lit.
That's cool.
They got us off cap, so they're gonna.
I think there was only 2 north. I think there was only 2 bats north.
They'll restart cap.
Okay.
Yeah, you should have still stayed on cap.
We're gonna have to do something otherwise we're on time.
I thought they were gonna yellow.
We've only got 4 minutes.
I should have stayed on cap. That been so free.
Yeah, that's. I don't know why you got off. It's like so sudden.
Because Jojo told me to leave.
Because they were yellowing. I saw they were yellowing.
I mean, I probably would have done more if I stayed on cap.
Jojo, I'm gonna go here.
Because he ran away when we clapped him.
Yeah, we need a tank there.
They might have gotten the bat into a bush. I'm on cap again.
Hey, I'm gonna watch the low side of this, okay?
They blind fired me. That was really close.
I went next to you, so they might blind for around where the owl started.
They haven't hit me yet.
So what's the play if he does get hit? That way we're ready.
Shoot the moss.
Unless we can't yellow.
Yeah, true.
Constant.
They're gonna yellow the moss down. You need to kill him.
I can't pen him.
Weezy, go for shots left.
I know, I'm shooting.
You need to shoot.
Hako, start going towards the center. But be a smart G-line.
You're gonna move over behind the bushes.
Bat spotted.
No shots on the bat.
Smiley,
Shot him.
move to cover set G-line.
I have 4 shells.
To cover G-line?
Moving up for better shots.
You need to shoot the moss when he yellows.
Moss is gonna yellow in.
I'll
Or
track
Hako's
the
gonna
mouse when I
yellow
see him. He's probably gonna have like 2 rev kits, but.
Yeah, just track him. Bats yelling.
Bat yelling.
Smiley, don't worry about north. Worry about south.
Yeah.
Bat. 2 bats yelling.
I'm getting shot by the Wheezies.
3 bats yelling. I'm getting off. Tracked. Oh, I'm dead.
We killed the bat.
Shots aren't hitting.
We killed the 1-shots. We have to get aggressive on them because
I'm gonna die. I got tracked.
On the bat.
You need to kill him. Kill the bat.
Yeah, we gotta fight.
Serve
There's a
up.
bat
Mr.
behind
Man.
us as well.
Mr. Man's in siege mode at the top. He's 2-shot.
How many bats do they have lit?
Hey,
3.
Smiley, go towards Sturb.
Yeah, I'm trying.
2 minutes.
They're gonna hide a bat.
No, they had two bats
we
north
can
and
kill
2
this-
bats south.
If we can kill this, we
No,
can
there's
two
3
bats
bats
north
south, 1 bat north.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, no, the bats on the stir.
Oh.
Bats on the stir. Go kill him.
Can you guys shoot them?
No, you just gotta go towards them.
You gotta kill him. Son.
You gotta get up underneath them.
Yeah.
Kill Cheese and Felix, and then just not let
We've
the
only got
bats
a minute
shoot.
and 30.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I bounced that.
Sturb is so broken. He's side on to you guys, but I don't think any of you guys have
No,
shots.
they don't have shots. You were supposed to go under the ridge, probably. Although I guess you would have got shot by the Wheezies.
Fixer. Go towards
You have a minute. You have a minute. You gotta go. Go.
Wheezy 1-shot.
5-8 fire. I got 2 bats on me.
Nice.
Pick them
You
up.
gotta kill the bats and smiling.
Oh, there's a bat over here. Bat over here. Bat over here.
People is
There's 4
yelling.
bat down south.
Ah, Smiley's dead.
Yeah, there's 3 bats and a Sturb.
Oh, we don't have time to cap anymore. It's ripped.
Well, that was a fun little listen in. I really like to hear the inner workings there of top tier. They try to figure things out. You know, very community style of calling, everyone asking questions. There wasn't really any one person in charge, but a lot of very smart minds trying to work together. And they came pretty close here, but Aquatic M60s, you know, hats off to them for playing a very aggressive game, changing it up. They took the north, they got some resets in there, they made them worry about it. But once again, sometimes not actually being somewhere is just as effective as being there and doing damage. You know, the thought you can give your opponent, the hey, we have bat jets up here, and then leaving them there, not knowing about it. All of a sudden, that mystery kind of makes top tier second guess, because they have to prep for multiple things. And M60s had already backed all the tanks back away and all the way back down into the south. But top tier had no intel. They didn't know that. So they had to respect that there still could be tanks in the north. And that sort of mind game asking those questions can really slow down an offense like that.
Guerrilla tactics, little skirmishes, not really putting yourself in this place where you're going to get pinned at all.
Be a ghost.
Yep. Just get in, get out. All right. So that's going to tie it up. That means Aquatic's now got 2 on the board versus top tiers. And with that one, we're going to be moving on to Ghost Town. Now, before, of course, we get into that, we want to talk a little bit more about what just happened. But right now, it's neck and neck for these teams. And I don't know which one's going to be able to stay focused for longer, because that's what I'm going to be watching for. Right now, top tier, based on what we heard last battle, that listen in, they seem fairly comfortable with each other. However, they don't seem to have a great idea about where they're going, what the general
A tactical map like Muravanka, that is a problem.
Yes.
A map like Ghost Town, where you can just drive at your opponent and force a brawl. When you have talent players as talented as top tier have, they could make that work for them. Now, looking at damage here, the Sturv, Mr. Man, 4,600 damage, 2 kills, 108 fantasy points. Not bad at all.
Very good.
People, 3K, 2 kills, 80 fantasy points. Fixer, top damage dealer, 4. Top tier for the second time tonight, 3K, 61 fantasy points, like Hako doing what he can in that mouse. Second page, nothing too surprising. Delph having a really quiet night, just really not able to really establish himself.
Yep, 103B though, of all tanks, you'd really wish that he could have gotten some damage out, but not this time.
I mean, he was cap bait is the main thing. That's something people forget about that Sturv. When it enters siege mode, especially if it has a camo net on it, that tank is near invisible, almost as invisible as, say, a T100. So sometimes you have to go play those roles and be the cap bait, and he was, and he got caught out and got punished for it.
Yeah, sometimes it does make me wonder a little bit, though, why other tactics might not be viable. We've seen blocking come into play before, but, well, we'll put that topic to rest for now. We'll return to it another time, because we're on to Ghost Town, one of the map that was designed for World of Tanks Esports.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the map that, with some feedback from those Russian players, devs were able to design something that had a lot of little tactical plays into it. It uses elevation very nicely, where we'll see a lot of these heavy tanks play around with 2 mice, T57, Type 5, 5As, and a Bat Chat on the side of Aquatic. Top tier, though, with 2 mouse, IS-7, 5As, 3 of them, and a single Bat Chat. They're on attack, bringing, slightly lighter lineup on the side of top tier. Aquatic, though, with the Type 5 and T57. Nice combination there. I know I'm starting to favor it more and more as I see it. That just derp cannon coming into play against really anything and making armor not a huge factor.
Look at this. Jojo Jackie going off by himself towards the north with that IS-7.
Possibly a little misinformation play. Try and get Jojo spotted. With that, maybe he pressures the 1 cap, and what that'll do is that'll bait the Type 5 from Marsh. Going to Marsh. That'll bait that Type 5 from Marsh and the 5A of Morphic, that there is some kind of cap pressure. Now, the important part is that Jojo gets himself spotted, assuming that's his plan, by the way. I'm assuming that's his plan. Right now, it looks like he's just kind of playing a little weird game. But the whole point of this, James, could be allow enough time to pass that you don't rush to cap too quickly, but just fast enough that everything from Aquatic should be in position, as opposed to something else. Because if Jojo pushes and they find out that this is a crazy, like, southwest push, that's where putting Joe Jackie on the 1 cap could actually blow up on in your faces, because then he's just out of the fight. But here we go. He's going to get a running start. So that says 1 cap pressure, create a distraction, make Aquatic think this is...
Now, this is risky, but it could work out. Now, notice there's no one here to punish Jojo as he gets on cap.
That's why waiting's important.
Yeah, but it also depends upon the response that Aquatic M60s come out with here. If they hit this with force, assuming that there's more tanks ready to protect him, they could find him alone and just take the overmatch if they recognize it. Now, it will be difficult, but they may do it because they haven't spotted anything. There's no tanks in the normal lanes. They may figure out what is up.
Yeah, but pay attention to the response from Aquatic. You're seeing Marsh move from a position that is ready for the tanks that are currently at the south of the top tier, and he's now shifting to try and fight Joe Jackie. With that, you're starting to see a lot of tanks. We're going to pull up the mini-map. These tanks are starting to move. Mice into the 2 cap. These guys around to screen, possibly, and that's going to create a whole lot of mess on the backside of the cap. We'll have to see how this develops, though, in just the next few moments.
5A's pushing up, looking for their shots, and they're actually trying to play the diagonal there. Crossfire, and they find the 5A. Well, actually, it's going to be a Type 5 game. They reset onto JoJo. But the 5A may get caught out for Aquatic M60s. Who's that over there? That's going to be, it looks like Giggles.
And there we go. Mice stacked up, ready to fight on the 2-cap as well. T57 out in the open. Tries to take on Aquatic.
Smiley Rage.
Yep.
The brawl breaks out, and now this is going to be where top tier really needs to step up and make the focus fire happen. JoJo's going to get in behind, put some shots into Pupil.
But JoJo may have gotten a little bit ahead of himself, and now Pupil, Big Cheese, and Marsh all have the opportunity to possibly focus on him. This is going to get messy from top tier. Pupil moves in on Joe Jackie, while everything else, Muriel, Fixer, Delph, and Lop all move in on the smaller group. They're going to leave Hako behind, which worries me now.
Trying to find the shots onto Morphic. Or Marsh, excuse me. Pupil takes another shot as Muriel comes around the corner in a fully loaded bat chat. We'll have to see if he can make that clip effective right now. He's going to find the shots onto that Type 5.
Nice focus fire. Muriel should be able to finish off Marsh. Just needs to make sure that connection happens.
Heat shells going up against that Japanese armor. Great angling there out of Marsh as he goes down. Morphic does take down Leptev in the back. Pupil picks up JoJo. 2 tanks left alive. Clever attempt from Aquatic M60s, or excuse me, from top tier, but not enough to really force them out of position.
We can both see where they were going with it, but parts of the execution were slightly off. So a little refinement could make a strat like this work. Aquatic, though, was able to respond appropriately.
The biggest problem was the spot where M60s moved to. The spot where they went...
Muriel.
Wow.
You can use your word right now.
Yeah, sorry.
You can use your word.
Just blown back by the small air he got there. Now he's going to play in this little corner and get the shots.
You can say it. You're allowed to. Come on, James.
Nope, not this time, Randall. Can't do it. Anyways, what I was going to say was... Oh, let's see if he gets the tracking shot. Misses the first track shot.
That would have been hilarious.
And trying to farm what fantasy damage he can. Gets another shot off. Goes down to Pupil. And Mr. Man TKS Pupil. And that is going to make it 3-2 in favor of Aquatic M60s.
Nice.
Now, as I was trying to say, the spot where Aquatic M60s responded to get the resets on that cap was not in a position where they could not defend that other cap, nor were they in a spot where they were vulnerable to that push that top tier moved forward from. Instead, it was top tier moving across that cap and M60s being, hey guys, they're right here, let's just turn and shoot them, and it was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
So they really needed to be a little bit more aggressive, play some different angles. The misdirection can work. You can put your opponent where you wanted them. The problem is in that courtyard where they were, they really didn't have an upper hand. They got them there, but the way they went about attacking it just didn't work.
What if I put it this way? On Ghost Town of all maps, it is not a map where you're going to be able to take your opponent from one cap to the other and back and forth. Not like Himmelsdorf, where it's very similar in the way that the 2 caps are separated by some common ground that the defending team should be able to grab a hold of early in the game. In this case, it's smaller than on Himmelsdorf. In Himmelsdorf, you can get away with a strat like that. Here, it's going to be a lot trickier, and you just saw why.
Yep, and Pupil, 3,500 damage, 3 kills, 80 fantasy points. Felix in the T57, 3,300, 77 fantasy points. Fixer, once again, top damage dealer for top tier, 3K, 55 fantasy points. Mr. Man doing what he can, 2,500, 57 fantasy points. And then it starts to drop off after there.
Looks like also, by the way, that Muriel from top tier calls a timeout after that one, clearly showing us that they needed a second to kind of recover and collect themselves before continuing on. That timeout is 15 seconds away. Nope, it is down now. So we'll be getting 60 seconds to battle in just a moment. But with that one, timeout. You call a timeout after you are down 3-2. It's Ghost Town. You need 2 more, 3 more really. So you have to win the next 3 in a row. You have to win the next one, Ghost Town, and you have to win both sides on Prohorovka to get away with your 3 points.
I will say this, even with Rude Awakening, top tier have played 9 battles on Ghost Town, 22% win rate.
Yeah, so...
Not a strong map to begin with.
Exactly. And so with that, right now it's looking very Aquatic M60 sided.
Yeah. Now, if they can close out this next game on to Ghost Town, that's going to leave Proc as the last map. Now, that is a map that top tier have looked very comfortable on, but once again, you have that giant question mark. No Rude. Can they still execute the same way without him?
Yes. And now as tanks get readied up, there we go. 2 Mouse, Type 5, 3 5As, and a bad shot for our defenders top tier. No surprise. on attack, 2 mouse, type T57, a type 5, 2 5As, and a bat chat. So nice little mix there of tanks that are heavy enough.
Felix really likes a T57. We've seen him play that a lot. And it is, to be fair, it is a great tank. My biggest thing with it is if you bring one, I feel like you should bring 2. One, the 1600, really? I've always been more of a fan of, if you're running autoloaders, bring 2 of them that you can stick together. Now, you can kind of run the bat chat with 57, but 2 257s, that's 3,200 damage that you can pump out in 6 seconds if you time it together.
I see what you're going for, but I've always viewed that as a little bit heavy-handed, and if you're wanting to optimize, I guess I would say you don't do that, and it's a weird place to go with the argument, but hear me out. Take 2 T57s, right, and you put them in the same spot, they get in each other's way, they might, what happens if one of them dies, what happens if one of them disconnects, what happens if you're forced to split them? Now, if they're used to working together, Battle Buddy style, sure. Oh,
looks like we have a...
Looks like we might have a disconnect call. We'll have to see what's up with that. Possibly. Yep. It looks like it might be a disconnect call, so stand by, ladies and gentlemen. We will wait for confirmation from production. They have to wait for communication from the admin to confirm, and we may be finding a quick disconnect.
Can't tell what's going on.
It's all right. This is the kind of thing. So it takes a minute because they're communicating in game, and then there's a workflow to get the communication to us here in the production room. Sometimes it can take a moment to let that happen. Also, what you're seeing right now is with the cap fast from Aquatic, that'll confirm it. That confirms it. So James, you and I, let's all back out of the training room. That'll happen from time to time.
Yep, so just trying to get that battle over with fast.
Yep.
So we can restart everything. It looks like it was Jojo who was up in the top spinning around in circles. A common thing happens when you disconnect. Your tank just does the last thing that you were doing, which if it was driving forward and turning, it'll just keep doing that. Now, as we were saying,
I'm getting updates.
Getting updates.
Yes, I'm being told that Dare wins over 07 5-3. Not bad there. And then I was just informed that Eclipse beat F7 5-2. So, not too crazy on our offline matches. Everything about in order from what we were expecting in this earlier in the season, except for today.
The 5-3 out of Dare 07.
Yeah.
You know, 07, even though they got the loss there, very strong showing versus the second place team.
Good point.
You know, no one really favored them in that one, just like we didn't favor them in Eclipse. But going forward, as they play, you know, F7 again, they played this top tier team, which is struggling right now. M60s have been a little bit lackluster this season. They, you know, if they can play that well, we should see them pick up some more wins, I think.
Yeah, we should. I tend to agree. It looks like we're just about to get back in. Everyone's readied up. And, yep, everyone's confirming, so we should be good to go. Apologies for the delays, guys.
Yep.
I know these happened.
While we're sitting here, let's finish that conversation about the double T57s. Where were you going with that?
So here's the thing with me. I like groups. I used to be a huge fan of, this will date my professional career, but the T32 combos, which would destroy IS-3s if appropriately used. T57s do something similar, but they lack a certain aspect of armor and durability. So where T57's working as a pair is okay, I feel like they're very delicate and easy to destroy if you approach them correctly. At that high skill level, it's a problem.
I agree with what you're saying, but the thing I like about it is when you have the 257s, you put them in together, you just have sure violence of action. You know,
yeah, you just come in there and you just blow something up. Sure.
6 seconds from time you fire your first shot to the time you fire your last shot. 3,200 damage of heat shells, and if you can get them at close range, that's anything in the game dead. That is a mouse dead.
Yeah, but you should be able to get enough guns on a target in order to focus fire it with consistent fire tanks that autoloaders are ultimately kind of a flourish.
But that also comes down to the map and how they set up on a map like Ghost Town. If you can create the battle to favor your 57s where you can get them in, you know, 2 versus 1 or 2 versus 2 where they're not that vulnerable, you can really make it a powerful combo. Now, my problem, the way I brought this up with just 1, is it's only 1,600 damage it pumps out, and that's going to rely on everyone else to finish him off, as opposed to just being able to delete that tank right then and there. That's, you know, a little bit longer for, say, a teammate to simp for that tank that you put that 1,600 damage into, time for them to return fire, time for your other tanks to miss a lot of shots and not kill him and for him to get away.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of little things why I think it's better to just have 2 if you're going to bring any at all, is my argument there, I guess.
Well, you guys let us know what you think on Twitter at WGLNA using the hashtag WGLNA. As we look at the lineups, they are exactly the same because they don't change when a disconnect happens. So that's 2 Mouse, Type 5 Heavy, T57, 2 5As, and a Bat Chat for Aquatic, and 2 Mouse, Type 5, 3 5As, and a Bat Chat for Top Tier. Opening moves. Hey ho, look at Smurriel on an opening scout run. Exactly opposite of Mr. Man. And like ships in the night, they will miss each other.
Yeah, and Muriel just barely misses the entire team of Aquatic M60s with that scout run.
Yep. What's beautiful about very quick scout runs is, unfortunately, sometimes that's going to happen. There's advantages. Muriel can kind of hide himself in the back lines. In fact, if he was clever enough about this whole route and knew enough about Aquatic's general plan, he might even be able to slip totally into their backfield, where he could be a huge nuisance. Just not this time. As
you guys just saw, tweeted us. We'll put them up on the broadcast, provided it's not anything too crazy, but memes are always welcome. So get involved, guys. Get out there. Twitter's a thing for a reason. We love to hear your voice.
Let's read your words.
Read your words, hear your voice. You meant what I know.
Oh gosh. And if you have the new upgrade on the characters, guys, don't just go. 140 is like all I can handle. Like, I'm not used to that yet.
The new 240 character limit?
It's a lot, man. Like there's some huge tweets. They're like getting really long, and people are still chaining them. I really need to follow some different people.
Aquatic M60 is just pushing across the cap here, and they might find the isolation onto Akako, who's taking a lot of damage. He's down to a 1-shot.
Giggles should have the kill shot. There he goes. There's a free kill. Almost, very little
and
lost.
Now the response is going to come out of top tier. They're trying to push around as cap pressure is on. 18 seconds on the cap. They need to find the resets quickly.
They should be able to do this. Delth moves out to look for a cap pressure while Fixer reloaded.
Good focus fire on to Marsh, opening up multiple angles here for top tier. They need to really focus out tanks though, and it looks like M60s are just going to push forward onto Delph. These 5As need to make sure they get involved and keep focusing these tanks out. Mice sharing HP, Leptev having to back up as the tanks for Aquatic M60s come around in the north as well. And this is just total chaos, but just no focus fire out of top tier. They have M60s where they want them, but it's going to be M60s that take down Delth, that Type 5.
And this looks like it might start tipping the scales right now. The mouse combo Pupil and Big Cheese is doing a great job right now. And just now, top tier has brought in the 3 5As in support. It took a little while, and because of that, I don't know if top tier is going to be able to find their way back into this fight. Loptev's almost dead. One more will finish him. Giggles gets it again, and that's probably going to be it. People gets to move forward. Felix has gotten to unload.
Felix making the T57 work this game. Top tier, well, the response was decent. Their focus fire was poor. They never really got all their guns onto the same target. They did what they had to open up the multiple angles to make sure they got the resets. But after they got those resets, that second plan where they needed to get all their guns together to focus fire to take guns out of the fight just never materialized.
Oh, come on, Felix. Even wins with style points. Oh, goodness.
And that is going to be a clean sweep for Aquatic M60s as they make this series 4-2.
One more, and that's going to do it as we move on to Proc. So with that, top tier needed momentum, and Aquatic has it. So Aquatic should be able to close this one out. Well, let's talk a little bit more about that last one. I think you summed it up. I don't think there's much more than the focus fire from top tier. Wasn't quite there.
We talk a lot about the strategy and a lot of different stuff now that can win or lose teams a game, but sometimes
it's just
individual plays. It's making your shots count, maybe a little bit of RNG thrown in there.
It's making that focus fire mean something, because what we didn't see was a single tank die on the other side. Nothing went down for Aquatic. No tanks died.
But if you notice, the battle goes out a lot of low HP tanks, which can be one of two things. It can be one, that M60s just hid their HP really well. They cycled tanks, they moved tanks around, which is great.
They were doing that, but they weren't doing it so well that top tier should not have been able to get
Look at how many one-shot tanks are alive on their team. That's 5 of 7 are one-shots right now.
And that shouldn't be allowed. That's something that every team here in this league is capable of dealing with. So when you don't see that happening, that's where top tier's just way too behind. They're not on tempo.
Yep, and Pupil having a very strong match tonight. Almost 4K, 1 kill, 82 fantasy points. JoJo also 2,800. Giggles 2,800. Smiley, Rage, and Fixer both doing what they can. Fixer still having a strong match. Second page, Akako and Murillo both getting caught out. Two of their stronger fantasy players along with Delph, but tonight so far, not really able to put up the points. Rip my fantasy team.
Yep. We have very similar fantasy teams today.
Yep.
I think you may have changed. Did you change anything?
I changed a couple.
Okay, so he after
I
he
still
saw.
have Muriel and Agako in this match, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I have Mr. Man, though, so...
I have Mr. Man, too. We both got him. Yeah, he'll do fine. Now, timer's going down. We've got now top tier defending on Proc, a map which, while they've performed well in the past, top tier could tie up the series if they win 2 in a row here, which would...
Force overtime, which is back on the Ghost Town.
Okay, yeah.
It is a long road for top tier, and right now your prediction earlier on is supposed to come in right.
Yeah, I got to be honest, I wasn't too confident in that prediction. It was very much based on the fact that Rude was not here today, and that Aquatic had been having a rough time, and I was hoping that they might also improve a little bit more noticeably than top tier does without Rude awakening present. So
imagine an airport. You have a lot of planes coming in and out, having to take off, moving around the ground, and their traffic control is just gone all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's not there. That's exactly what top tier are like right now.
A lot less at stake, you could say. But
similar principle.
You've raised the stakes, though.
And opening play is coming out here for both teams. Smiley Ridge moving towards the middle ridge in that T100. No light tank for Aquatic M60s, going with the Bat Chat lineup.
Smiley's going to go for his opening run. Goes for a nice west side. Dips into the mid bowl after spotting People, Cheese, and Felix. From here, he's going to try to get out. It's important to do it quickly because Bat Chats, you should know, are going to be loaded in 3, 2, 1. Although a few of them are loaded sooner because of rations, but whatever.
The Ridge is still spotted right now. Now he's unlit.
Yeah.
But they have an idea that he's over here on this one line as Marsh is just going to keep driving forward.
But look at the approaching positions. Normally, you would see 5As, IS-7s from the defending side a little bit farther to the east, but notice how much to the west that they are. And this will actually be a tell to Aquatic if they're paying attention. If they see what's going on, they'll understand, and I think they do, based on the minimap, that the number 2 cap is left wide open.
Yeah, if top tier make this play right now, if they get their tanks down into the back here, they're going to have shots onto the back of the heavy tanks, and the heavy tanks pressure at the same time. That's these tanks isolated, and these two are out of the fight and not really able to do anything if they can recognize it quick enough.
And here comes the little Bat Chat light tank hit squad as they move south. At the exact same time, good call, Morphic is moving out to the east to avoid this push. Delth and Muriel are spotted, and that might prompt a counter push. The appropriate response from Aquatic right now is to push up and over and isolate.
But pay attention to these Bat Chats. If they get up on this ridge, they can still rifle off a lot of shots. They can catch Marsh off, and this can work for top tier.
You absolutely can. The important part for Aquatic is to deal with this, face the same problem, and just deal with it. Okay, looks like focus onto Delth right now, as he'll be forced to back off with one shell. He's able to actually make his play work completely. And with that, right now, hit points are way in favor of top tier. So Aquatic's response not appropriate. See where Felix is right now, James? Felix did the right thing. This is exactly what I wanted to see when you see that west side push, because you need to get those guns in an irrelevant position.
Aquatic tried to do the same thing, but they did it one late and on the opposite side of the map. So because it was so delayed, it was them that bled their HP first, them that had their tanks caught out. The top tier kept their tanks moving. They got onto the other side of the ridge, and they created their own isolations. They didn't stay on the north end where the Bat Chats that got in behind could get those shots. Now look at the thing here, though. Cap, 15 seconds on the cap. They need to find some resets
as best he can, but
doing what they can. 10 seconds, there comes one reset. That should be it. This should be top tier able to clean this up. Top tier making Prokhorovka their playground.
Yep. Although they know that one more win will set Aquatic in victory. So with this, I mean, last hurrah, or is it a comeback? That's the big question for me.
As decisive as that was, if they can play like that again and really catch Aquatic M60s off guard, I think they can do that. This seems to be a map that top tier just are really solid on, with or without Root.
I think there's I think pretty clearly though that Aquatic made a mistake. There's an answer to that play when they found out what was going on, and they had spotting more than 20 seconds before shots were fired from the southwest, so they knew what was coming. They understood that there were tanks moving to create a crossfire, And the response was not there. Felix went over the hill to try and create the isolations. The other 5As, everyone else did not. And that's what needs to happen. If that had not had that happened, different story for Aquatic. They may have been able to hold on. They may have been able to even fast cap. The possibilities are endless. But because they didn't, because they kind of got split up, because there was a lot of chaos there, Aquatic is not able to keep this together. And that's the difference between top tier and Aquatic here that I'm noticing. You're noticing one team have the response ready to go, or the right plan, the right action, whatever it is, and they present that question to their opponent. In this case, top tier. And Aquatic did not have the answer ready to go, not quickly enough.
Yep, Delph having a nice game there in the bat chat, 3,200, getting 2 clips off, 93 fantasy points. Akako, 2,600, but 4 kills. Not bad at all. 83 fantasy points making up for that last game. Yeah, on Ghost Town, Leptev, 2,600. Fixer having another strong performance, 2,400. And then second page drops off pretty heavily after there. Mr. Man not really able to get into the fight. And
notice the 3 bottom damage dealers. It's an IS-7, an IS-7, and a 5A. The tanks that were not able to shift around in position for Aquatic. Yep. Because of that, they died before they did.
Now, the other key thing to note there was that one-line play out of top tier. It was a little bit risky, because if you do just the basic math, regardless of where they're fighting, you have 2 bat jets and a T100 for the side of top tier.
3 tanks.
And then you have 3 bat jets for Aquatic M60s. And at no point ever did they spot the bat jets on that 8 line. They never saw them.
On the 8 line.
Yeah, they never saw them on their side. They knew there was 1 bat jet in the south, but they didn't see all of them. So that push, you have to remember, that would have been a blind push with 3 tanks. We'll get back to that in a second as the lineups come in. Top tier, 2 IS-7s, 2 5As, 3 5As, bat chat, and a T100. M60s, 2 IS-7s, a 5A, an STRV, and 3 bat chats. Now my point is this, is because top tier was the one dictating plays, the only reason they could make that work, even if all 3 bat chats were still down on that bottom 1 line, they would have had the 5As and the IS-7s on the top of the ridge where they could have shot from the mid to shoot those bat chats and focus them out together. So they would have had more guns in the fight, where the tanks from Aquatic M60s would have been on the low side of that hill, where they really wouldn't be able to get any shots.
And thanks for the tweets, and thank you, Mad Mainer.
We are glad you enjoy this show. Now, everyone,
send me your weather.
Memes, guys, memes, tweets. We appreciate
all right, Smiley going out with an opening scout run, takes 385 for Mr. Man in the back, as he will spot IS-7, and a 5A. He will also, no, wait, that's Muriel, I believe, spotting Felix, and they'll trade. Muriel did 1-for-1 right there, nothing huge yet. And some cover fire coming in from Mr. Man to destroy a few buildings. Giggles also lit, so a lot of intel right here on Aquatic for top tier. Top tier will need to figure out their response. It looks like they're starting to formulate that. Here comes the push. 5As moving up together, IS-7s moving up together. Lop deciding to break off, moves west to deal with the 3-on-3 kind of press all around the tracks. Jojo Jackie to make it an overmatch. Now Hako looks like he wants to go up and over, saying...
And the rest of the team's going with them. They have this overmatch. They know that there's those tanks in the low ground, so they're taking the overmatch on the other side, and they are spreading out. They need to do this quickly and effectively, though, especially because they're already down several thousand HP. That STRV in the backfield, getting off the shots he can. Pupil is being focused out, and he is ammo racked. Should be Marsh focused down after they finally pick up Pupil. HP's still in favor of Aquatic M60s, but their guns are together. They have the bat chats out of the fight. Top tier can still do this.
Look at this, bat chat's moving in. Felix joining the fray, and with that, a bat chat might be able to tip the scales and turn this into the favor of Aquatic M60s. With that, they'll be able to clear this one up. But the question is, will they? Nice play by Fixer to use to just smash a tank.
Felix is being focused out. He gets taken down. They're down on HP, but guns are still equal at this point, even as Delph does go down. Mr. Man just putting up the damage he can. Big Cheese being the next one focused out.
Another bat chat comes in. Hey, Giggles, how you doing? Giggles joins the fight now to go up against Jojo Jackie. And
Smiley Rage doing what he can. Jojo
Big Cheese
does pick up the kill onto Big Cheese.
It's 3v3. Just note that. Hit points may be in favor of Aquatic. Now 2v3. And Muriel finds Morphic. Morphic has plenty of shells left. He'll be able to take on Muriel by himself.
Muriel doing what he can to get damage, but that should do it. That should be Aquatic M60s picking up a win versus top tier. Top tier went for it. They went up and over, and focus fire just not quite there. People bounced a few shots that he probably shouldn't have.
Smiley catches one right in his turret. Mr. Man making that connect. Again, connect.
And you cannot blindly push into an STRV like that and not have a plan for it. He fired off so many shots and got so much damage. He really bled those heavy tanks.
I think they were banking. Top tier was banking on the fact that Mr. Man was in the far east, but the problem with that is when you have only one Sturv, when you have only one of those, generally you're not going to place it all the way in the east. Generally it'll be on those tracks. If there were 2 of them, it would have been an easier strat to read, but I think Top Tier took a risk, and it just didn't pay off. They were a little hobbled getting into that fight.
Their initial setup. The initial setup with the I-7s holding that middle crossroads, when they spotted those bat chats in the low ground, they could have made that play work down the 7 line and isolate those bat chats in the low ground because they still had mid control. What happens is a lot of teams, they spot the bat chats and they try to push straight up and over into the bat chats. They get sucked in the low ground, and then the other team takes the mid control and starts shooting them in the rear. And if they had held the middle crossroads, made one tank up on the hill to cover, and then pushed the rest of the tanks into the low ground, into the river, an isolation that they knew they had, they could have made that work for them. But once they spotted the bat chats,
shot out.
Mr. Man picks up the kill.
So he puts the last 3 shells in the coffin.
Yep.
And that's it.
But anyways, my point is simple, is they went for the opposite play of what I was talking about, which was dump over in the middle. They knew the bat chats were down and out in the low ground, and so they tried to go for the easier overmatch. The problem was Sturv was in a prime position to farm damage, and farm he did.
Yep, on top of that, the tanks from Top Tier were hobbled. They were out of position, they were strung out. There were only 3 of, like, 1 tank goes over, then 2 go over, and then a 3rd one comes over, but he doesn't actually engage directly like the rest. He actually moves out to the flank, but he's late to the party, so moving out to the flank really isn't as effective. It actually wastes a huge amount of time that you could have been using in order to actually shoot at the badman.
And actually, in this case, the better position probably would have been to be together up against the train tracks, because the Sturv would have had harder shots. Instead of pushing out, he was out into the open where the Sturv had clean shots.
The problem with that is the bat chats can actually get shots in there, so maybe, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying it's tricky, it's tricky.
I see where you're coming from. It's, it's half, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yes. Just a very difficult thing to deal with. When you push over like that on proc, you need everything in position. But looking at this match overall, it's been a back and forth. Strong plays, weak responses.
Yep. And I do have to say, your early prediction of 5-3 in favor of Aquatic M60s is correct. So, got one right. A lot of little things here for Top Tier. Overall, a lot of good-looking strats, a lot of the right ideas, but you can tell the lack of Rude Awakening really did hurt them.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. And you can see actually where both teams made huge mistakes today. They're going to be kicking themselves. They're all completely aware of what they did, and they're all probably recognize it immediately. We're of course just sitting there watching them do it.
Yep, and Mr. Man, 4K damage, 2 kills, almost 100 fantasy points. JoJo continuing to have a strong match day despite losing. Another 2,400, 2 kills, 64 fantasy points. Nothing too surprising. Mariel, 1,900, 51 fantasy points. Second page, Kako, the one that pushed over in the middle. Without everyone else, only getting 22 fantasy points. Delph, 1,200. Smiley Ridge, 1,700 in that light tank, doing what we can. On the match, Fixer Reloaded, 426. Pupil, 470. Mr. Man, 415. Big Cheese. Morphic, Felix, Lubtev, all doing 300 plus. Pretty solid out of them.
Although, look, Mariel actually puts up some decent numbers for the night, and so does Delph.
Yeah, and even Akako, almost 300. That's not bad considering they were out of the fight a lot of that game. So, still salvaged it for a lot of you people that stack Top Tier like me. Should be enough to not affect us too badly in the fantasy standings.
Yep, and I'm being told that we may have an interview with our winner coming up here shortly from Aquatic M60s. That should be Mr. Man to join us in just a moment.
Yeah, overall, though, it was a pretty good sight.
Mr. Man, welcome back to the broadcast. Thank you for proving me right. And
I'm glad I can.
How was that for you guys? Because it was a little crazy over here. Like, how was that for you? Battle 1 to, I guess, we'll start off early. Let's start off with that. You guys went 1-1 on Ruinberg. What?
When we were on defense, we kind of got wrecked, honestly. I don't know how it looked from your guys' point of view, but they were just dragging us around the map and pretty much farming us the whole time. When we were on our attack, they gave us the Delta Village pretty much for free, and we were able to take advantage of that pretty easily. So
I started trying to. I felt like this match could have been characterized by a really cool play, and the follow-up to that cool play was the wrong answer. Did you feel like that was consistent when you guys won or lost?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how a lot of the rounds went.
Yeah, because it seemed like you guys either had the answer or you were completely lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can see it a little bit, but it went both ways. I felt like both of you guys were about on that page, and you guys came out ahead, of course, in the end. You said it was about momentum before we got into the match. What do you have to say about that momentum and how it played into this match?
I think in every match for us, it does. Once we get you know, once we got about our third victory, we're all, you know, feeling really good, and we're ready to just finish it up, and you know, we're playing strong at that point. So.
All right, last question for you, Mr. Man. Now that the first match of the second round robin is done, you got 6 more matches, along with F7 and Eclipse up next. How are you guys feeling as a team going forward for the rest of the season? Not just the next match, but where are you guys at? You guys feel like you're getting to where you want to be overall? You still struggling? Where are you at?
I feel like we're still struggling a little bit. I think this win will definitely help us with boost our confidence again a little bit. And like I said, we still need to. We still have some problems that we need to work out, and we're systematically fixing as many as we can. So.
Okay, well, good to see. I mean, obviously improved a good bit. Not quite sinking to the bottom of the lake yet. Any final thoughts for your fans out there, Mr. Man?
Yeah, big thanks to all my fans and everyone who puts me on their team, and that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations once again on the win.
Thank you.
Always good to hear from Mr. Man.
Yep. Well, that does it.
Yeah,
does it? We had a straight 5-0 from Elevate over Teal Team 6. We had top tier 3-5 with Aquatic coming out ahead today.
And then offline, we had Eclipse taking F7 5-2 in the offline, as well as Dare Rising picking up the win versus 07. Now looking at standings, Elevate continuing to pull ahead. Dare 6 points back right now. Eclipse 1 point behind them. Aquatic M60s and Teal Team 6 and top tier all on 9 points apiece right now. F7, because they lost to Eclipse, still at 7, only 2 points behind. But that's still 4 points ahead of poor 07 sitting there in last place still. They need to pick things up going forward. Now they've definitely looked improved. You know, a 5-3 result to Dare Rising tonight's not bad at all.
Yep.
But they're going to need to start to win some of those games, especially in that 4 through 7 range.
It's going to be crucial. They need to jump up at least to get 9 points, meaning they need to get at least 2 wins and hope that Aquatic, Teal Team 6, or top tier put up 0 wins going forward. You get me, right? Like that's the difference. You're depending on Aquatic, Teal Team, or top tier not to continue winning for 07 or F7 to overtake them.
Yep. Now looking at next match day, that's going to be next Tuesday. We will have Dare versus top tier to start us off, and then Eclipse versus Elevate after that, and that is going to be a crucial match for both teams because Eclipse really need those points to catch Dare Rising. Elevate, though, are undefeated. They have 5 5-0s on the season, so definitely something to keep an eye on. And then we have F7 taking on Aquatic M60s and our offline, along with 07 taking on Aquatic M60s.
Right.
Or 7.
Teal Team 6.
Teal Team 6.
It's all right. Yeah, and with that, those will be some interesting matches. It's just like the first round robin, all over again.
Yep. Now make sure you guys follow us on Twitter to keep up to date during the weekend and get ready for next match day. That will be at WGLNA on Twitter. Also, join us on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA for the Facebook Live pre-show before every single match at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. We'll try to help you guys out with your fantasy teams.
Yep, and of course, don't forget, head on over to fantasytanks.com. If you haven't already signed up, if you watched today and you maybe want to get involved, go ahead, sign up. You just need a World of Tanks account, and you'll be able to pick a team and join us for next Tuesday.
And if you need even more help than me and Randall can provide you, then make sure you check out the Wargaming pre-show, and that's at twitch.tv/Wargaming, and that is run by BTED and Ute normally, and that is normally starting at about 4:45 Pacific on match days, and they will give you a more in-depth breakdown of each of the matches, so make sure you guys check that out. All right, that about does it for me. You have any final thoughts on the night?
This was fun.
Yeah, no, it's fun as always.
Yeah, it was good. It feels good to make a prediction, top tier versus Aquatic, which honestly I wouldn't have put money on, and get it right.
Yeah, no, it was a close match. You know, Rude not being there for top tier definitely hurt them, but we'll have to see when he gets back. I'm assuming he won't be gone for long. Get back in the team, kind of push them back towards that next level. Yep. All right, guys, that does it for us. Once again, I'm James Rockstar Grief. That is Randall Ryukill Holcomb, and we'll see you guys Tuesday.